It was soft and delicate, fingers tracing your right cheekbone, moving down your jaw to lightly brush your lips. Who's touching me? Opening your single eye, you scan the room, looking for whoever might have touched you while you slept. No! Jeff has been touching me in my sleep! No! Cindy touched me in my sleep! Yo, why did they turn Jeff into such a baby girl? Do I say yes? Do I say no? The room was silent, illuminated by the warm midday light filtering through the window. Also, why you gotta call me out for using easy mode? You looked anywhere but at your therapist. You didn't yet feel comfortable enough to speak freely. Attending these sessions felt like a chore, more than for your own good. It seemed like a way to keep an eye on you. You know, you have no obligation to talk about him. The therapist watched you patiently, leaning calmly against the back of his armchair. You can talk about whatever you want. You scoffed ironically, offering no reply. It's been 7 days. Enough time for someone to change, don't you think? Instinctively, you raised your hand to the left side of your face, where a patch covered your left eye. He hurt you. There's no doubt about it. The police, the hospital, everyone has their version, but I want yours. You shrugged. That's fine. Silence is an answer. You looked towards the window. Your reflection's silhouette was visible in the glass. Even though you couldn't see yourself clearly, your posture and expression were noticeably different from a week ago. Day 1. The start of your shift is like your life start button. You have a clear routine. Wake up, work, sleep. You have no legacy, no ambitions, no pending matters. You fulfilled your duties as a student and finished school. But you lack the motivation to pursue a dream or a goal beyond where you are now. You feel as if you don't have a starring role in the world because nothing special has happened to you. Yet. In fact, one could say you let apathy guide you. An apathy that numbs your strong emotions. A roller coaster ride? Pleasant. You trip and fall face first in public? Not the end of the world. Positive or negative, your emotional range was very low. Like a perfect blank canvas. Anyway, you try and make your life as comfortable as possible. As strange as it sounds, you work at a video store that only attracts nostalgics and cinephiles. I love movies. The main reason you took the job is because you like it. You can spend hours watching movies and never get bored. The place is colorful enough not to depress you just by being there. And if you're lucky, you might run into an interesting character or two. Of course, besides the characters that already exist. Catching up on lost time? For a moment, I thought you wouldn't come. Cindy, your coworker. She's not very good at her job, which is saying a lot, since being an attendant at a time-lost store doesn't require much effort, but she's the owner's daughter. You're the other full-time employee, and you do well. You two don't get along great, nor terribly. You tolerate each other. Where's your badge? Instinctively, you reach for your neck, and indeed, your employee badge wasn't there. It's strange, but I feel like I can't say your name without your badge. Cindy shrugged and retreated to the back room with a box full of movies. Somehow, what she said made sense. It was as if you couldn't even remember your own name unless it was written right in front of you. As if names only existed if someone else spoke them aloud. Well, you remember taking it out of your things when you arrived, so it was most likely still in the store. Why, I can look. I go to the back rooms. These don't look like the back rooms! Maybe you dropped in the back room, but you only found Cindy look at her phone next to the boxes she'd taken back. Cindy gave you a quick glance, then went back to ignoring you. You followed her example and focused on finding your badge. Nope, not here. I'll too. You leaned down to try and get a better look at the floor, hoping your badge was around somewhere. You moved down the small aisle, determined, past shelves packed with horror and thriller movies, until you spotted the unmistakable piece of plastic almost at the end of the aisle. That sounded familiar. You were reaching for your badge, but a white hand got there first, slowly picking up the plastic piece. You looked up and found yourself facing a tall, hooded man with his face covered. He looked like a potential criminal or someone with a bad cold. But you didn't have the energy to worry. You straightened up, standing face to face. The man seemed to ignore you, more interested in your badge in his hand. Is this yours? His voice, muffled by the fabric, was deep and slightly raspy. You nodded silently, looking at the man suspiciously. By the way he cocked his head. Prove it. Oh, now you could finally visualize your name. My name, it's Lion. The man looked at the badge in silence, and for a moment, you truly thought you might have been wrong after all, but then he offered you the piece of plastic. All right, Lion. You took the badge in your hands, giving the guy a look. I'm going to thank him. Thanks, mister. Don't call me that. I'm not that old. Sorry, but I have no way of knowing when I can't see your face. Guess you have a point. Besides, from the skin of your hands, I can tell you're not exactly a young fellow. Yeah, I get it. The guy's voice sounded irritated. A part of you said you should be more sweet with customers, but if you managed to annoy him with your chatter, you could consider it an achievement. This guy gave you bad vibes. You silently put the badge around your neck while he remained motionless in his spot. You slowly moved towards the counter. The guy stared at you as you moved, which only made your discomfort worse. You decided to ignore him, shifting your attention to one of the monitors next to you. You could, if the hooded guy from before would stop wandering around the store so suspiciously. You tried your best to ignore him, but it was impossible not to notice him. Maybe he was doing it on purpose. Hey, Lion. At the sound of your name, you looked up at Cindy, who had come around the counter to stand next to you. Did you see that guy? He's been here for an awful long time. You looked where she was subtly pointing, and of course, she was talking about the same guy. Yeah, I saw him. You shrugged. A very logical reaction, right? Yeah, maybe he's deciding what to buy. He was probably just a weirdo you'd see once. No big deal. Anyway, Cindy, as annoying as she was, wasn't easily flustered. He's just a weirdo. We see these every day. But this one feels different. You were starting to believe Cindy had watched way too many movies, but then you remembered she doesn't like cinema and only worked in her dad's store. When I talked to him, he didn't seem too dangerous. Cindy turned to you, surprised. You talked to him? Did he say anything weird? Not really. He just gave me back my badge. Why did he have it? I mean, he grabbed it first. Look, it wasn't a big deal. Cindy looked at you in silence for a few seconds, then sighed. If he makes you uncomfortable, I can't ask him to leave. Cindy shook her head, glancing at the guy. You're probably right. Okay, I'll leave you to it. I'll go check the inventory. Sure. You settled into your designated chair, and before you could pretend to look at receipts, Cindy spoke again. But if he does anything suspicious, let me know, okay? You nodded slightly. Cindy didn't wait for a verbal response. She just went back to her task. You kept your eyes fixed on the monitor screen for a moment. Out the corner of your eye, you glanced at the aisles. The guy was still there, just standing. He was looking at a shelf that held nothing particularly interesting. And then he looked at you. It wasn't a quick or distracted glance. It was direct. I meet his gaze! You returned his gaze with the same intensity. You didn't know if you were doing it out of bravery, stubbornness, or simple curiosity. But he didn't blink. And then he made a slight gesture. An almost imperceptible nod of the head. as if he were greeting you. You decide to ignore him, turning your attention back to the monitor to remove the CD from the player. As you put the CD back in its case, you looked at your options. Horror. You enjoyed the scares and the atmosphere that horror movies created. You were about to pick a movie until the sudden sound of someone leaning on the counter in front of you distracted you. Oh, hi. Awful close, aren't you? Again, the stranger was there, this time in front of you, looking intently at the CD in your hands. What movie are you gonna put on? Excuse me? I just wanted to know what movie you were gonna put on. Is that a crime? No, of course not, but... Come on, I'm undecided. Maybe you can inspire me. You looked at him in silence for a moment, then sighed with weariness. Black Swan, The Exorcist, Scream, Tremors, Paranormal Activity, Pulse the Thing. You know what? Scream is a classic. I love me some Scream. Oh. A classic slasher. Interesting. Well, did that help you decide? The guy cocked his head. Now you knew for sure that was his way of showing mockery. A little. Though, what caught my attention most was the genre you chose. You raised an eyebrow. Oh, yeah? And what about it? Horror. His tone dropped. Interesting choice. It always says something about the person who prefers it. Like what? That you're looking to feel something real. Or you want fear to have a face. Something you can understand, even if that means danger. His words were soft, but they pricked like needles under your skin. Maybe I like strong emotions without putting myself at risk, like everyone else. But you're not like everyone else. Well, that phrase needs to be removed from the visual novel bingo card! Oh my god! I love how self-aware this game is. He moved a little closer to the counter. He didn't invade your space, but it was as if he caressed it. You don't seem to be afraid. Should I be? Depends. Do you prefer to see horror from the outside or have it stare back at you? I'm gonna go with it. I guess it depends on how pretty the face of horror is. He tilted his head slightly, as if you had said something he didn't quite expect, but he didn't seem surprised either. Wow. Keep in mind that sometimes pretty things bite too. Oh, I'm counting on it. He glanced at the shelves for a second, as if looking for something, but it was obvious he wasn't. Or maybe you like being bitten. Who knows? Yes! Can I have you bite me later? He shrugged, as if downplaying his own words. He extends a finger and drew circles on the counter surface. He was pretending to think, ignoring you, but aware of your presence. For your mental sanity's sake, you needed to hurry him up. I'm gonna be subtle. You cleared your throat, your hand a clenched fist. Are you going to pick something? You're a bit impatient, huh? Excuse me, I didn't mean to... Relax. I'm just playing. You glanced back, searching for Cindy, just to feel some security that you weren't on your own. But unfortunately, you didn't see her anywhere. Then, without you asking, he reached a hand over the counter. I'm Jeff. I think it's time we formally introduce ourselves, don't you? Your gaze dropped to his hand. I take his hand. Jeff held your hand gently, as if wanting to make his touch seem harmless. Wait, what if I give him a high five? Wait, he actually likes a high five? Jeff laughed loudly, drawing the attention of the few remaining customers in the store. You couldn't help it, but he also laughed at your action. Hey, don't exaggerate, they're watching us! Why? Are you embarrassed for them to see you? It's not that! You're bothering the customers with my laughing! Right. I didn't take you for someone who'd easily get embarrassed. As someone who works in a store, you should convince the customer to buy as much as possible, but something told you Jeff would take his sweet time. You watched him in silence for a few seconds, observing his thoughtful posture. If he was insistent on prolonging the interaction, you were allowed to make him uncomfortable too, right? Ooh, are you single? Jeff stumbled in place, turning his gaze to you. He remained silent for a few seconds, recovering from the initial surprise, then tilted his head with a teasing touch. What if I'm not? I flirt. I wouldn't mind sharing. You rested your chin on your hand, raising your eyebrows playfully. Jeff cleared his throat against his bandana, hiding what you suspected was a chuckle. At least you made him laugh. Well, did you decide on what to get? Jeff refocused his attention on you. Well, it seems like you really want to get rid of me. I'm gonna answer nicely. It's not that. If you need help, I'm here to help. He tilted his head slightly, but this time not with mockery, but rather boredom. His fingers stopped drumming, now still on the counter surface. Right. Customer service protocol. The mockery was still there, but his eyes no longer sparkled with the same intensity. For a second, it almost seems like he was going to say something there, but he just let out a discreet sigh. Anyway, I don't think I'll be taking anything. Great, all that for nothing. I wish it had been a pleasure to meet you, Lion, but I'm not so sure. Jeff straightened up from the counter, patting it. Yeah, I agree. He didn't hold back and matched his low energy. Jeff waved his hand dismissively and left. Finally. This guy was getting on your nerves with all his questions and comments. Everything seemed like an invitation to a game, but you didn't have to accept it. Your workday was over. All in all, it was quiet. Night had fallen, but there was no reason to worry since you lived a few blocks away. Some things were just convenient like that. This week, it was Cindy's turn to close the store. Since you two had almost the same position, you decided that closing duties would be by turns. So you had your things ready to go home. Are you going to be okay? Sure. Wait. Why wouldn't I be? The guys seemed a bit fixated on you. You scoffed ironically. Oh, come on. Me? Yeah. I don't get it either. Screw you, Cindy! Okay! Ouch! But what if he follows you? I hope he does! That's not going to happen. He left hours ago. There's no way he stayed lurking around here. I don't know. Your danger senses aren't very accurate, I'd say. Danger is subjective. That is not true. Why do you care so much? I thought you hated me. Cindy was surprised by your words. She averted her gaze, playing with the mop handle she had in her hands to clean before closing. I don't hate you. I just think being with you is boring. Hey! Yeah, well, you're not exactly the life of the party. I don't mean it in a bad way, really. I feel at peace with you. Oh. Your disregard for everything could be tiresome, but it was also comforting in a way. You scratch your head, not knowing how to react to Cindy's words. She never said anything nice to you until now. Cindy cleared her throat, looking away with an embarrassed grimace. What I mean is, I don't want anything bad to happen to you. You took a step towards her and placed your hand on her shoulder, smiling calmly. I'll be fine. Just because something weird doesn't mean the universe has decided to turn against me. You shared a final farewell gesture before you closed the door behind you. The store sign indicated it was closed, and you sighed, feeling the weight of adult life in a capitalist world lift a little from your shoulders. Just a little. It was part of the routine, saying goodbye to Cindy, finally going home. You lived on your own since you started working, so you had no extra responsibilities to worry about, which gave you space to focus on your own needs. It wasn't an extraordinary life, but hey, it was functional. You worked during the week, earned enough money for rent and bills, and rested on weekends. Even though the street was well lit, the atmosphere remained gloomy as you walked towards your apartment. It had always been like this. Nothing to fear, right? It was then that you felt your arm being pulled violently to one side. Maybe you should have been more alert. You were dragged into an alley beside the street. It was slightly darker, but a street light nearby allowed you to distinguish what was right in front of you. Since the sudden action disoriented you, you were slow to react. What the fuck? The sound of a slight blow to the side of your head interrupted you, and you realized the person had cornered you against the brick wall behind you. You glanced at the person's arm, a familiar white sleeve covering an arm, reaching from your blind spot. You grew tired of the suspense and finally looked up at the person who cornered you. You had an idea of who it might be. Hi, Jeff. Lion, we meet again. Uncertainty filled you at the sight of a white, scarred face. Jeff had removed his hood and bandana, revealing his face. His skin varied in colors and textures. His nose was sunken. His milky blue eyes were deep set in dark circles, and you were certain you hadn't seen him blink once. But what caught your attention most was the scar that ran across his mouth. It didn't look like a clean cut, and the way it distorted his expression sent a shiver down your spine. You assumed his face would have imperfections he wanted to hide to avoid stares from strangers, but considering the bizarre situation, it wasn't surprising. Jeff? Certainly you were at a disadvantage here, so you tried to think of ways to turn the table. Wow. Who would have thought? At night? Someone alone? Gloomy alley? Oh, such a classic. Jeff chuckled at your sarcasm. You don't drop the act, huh? Then he pulled a knife from his hoodie. Now, make sure you give me a good show. His voice was raspy, accelerated, with an anxious tone. He seemed impatient. A show? Fear is exquisite, he whispered, almost and unnecessarily poetically, leaning towards you, his breath grazing your face. Hey, no offense, but your whole approach feels very cliché. Jeff tilted his head to the side. You would have sworn it was his equivalent of raising an eyebrow. If he had eyebrows. This isn't the time for jokes, don't you think? Yeah, well, I really don't know what motivated you to attack me. I thought we were getting along. Jeff pressed the width of the blade against your cheek, the cold metal against your warm skin. Are you asking what makes you special? Is being special having you drag me into a dark alley? Wow, you must not be very popular. Jeff snorted in annoyance. He grabbed your shoulder with the hand that had cornered you and slammed you against the wall behind you. You felt your head hit the rough texture of the hard surface, making you wince. I tease. Oh, harder. Oh. Jeff released you and stepped back a couple of paces as if you burned him. His expression reflected surprise, and it was a bigger reaction than you expected. Relax, I'm just kidding. Unless you wanted it to be that way. That wasn't funny. It was to me. Shut up! This shouldn't be funny. You should be afraid. Jeff approached again, raising the knife to your neck. Instinctively, you pulled away from the blade, feeling the tip pierce your chin. You're in an alley at night with a knife at your throat. So I'll ask you again. Are you afraid? Yes. Jeff hasn't made much of an impression on you. You were aware your situation was dangerous, but it really couldn't matter less to you. But anyway, it seemed fun to see what would happen if you messed with him. For now, you decided to play along. You know what? Yeah, I am afraid. Jeff recovered his spirits, extending his wide smile. He lowered the knife, but kept it in his hand. He wasn't threatening you. Maybe he wanted to keep having fun with you. Good. Good. Now that's what I wanted to hear. Oh, typical. Now, what scares you about me? Oh, evidently, Jeff enjoyed seeing fear in his victims. For now, you managed to keep him happy enough to maintain a conversation with you, but maybe he wanted to dig deeper. Perhaps he liked knowing in detail what he provoked in his victims. Now that's funny. Can you accept the challenge of indulging him? Face, voice, he's insane, he's going to kill you. You're insane! How rude! His voice sounded more amused than offended. I like challenges. The way he said that was even more terrifying. This is more fun than I thought it would be. Anyway, why are you attacking me? Jeff stared at you in silence for a few seconds, his smile static. You felt like demanding he blink. I think killing you will be fun. Oh, great. You had hoped he was just a simple thief going through an angsty teenage phase and only wanted to scare you, but it turns out he was a madman who genuinely intended to murder you. You hit the jackpot. And I thought I'd won your heart. Oh, that takes a lot more than just one day. That seemed like useful information. But for the future, you should focus on surviving. Now. I know. Let's play a game. Play what? A simple game of tag. What happens if I win? I'll let you go. That's what you'd like me to say. He was an idiot. A very dangerous idiot. The most dangerous kind. You had to choose carefully. But I chase you. I chase you. I chase you. Jeff stumbled over his words, not having expected that response. Jeff straightened up over you, analyzing you in silence. His face was strangely expressionless. You assumed because his mouth was mangled as it was, he was condemned to have the same expression permanently. God, suddenly you felt your neck squeeze tightly, make it hurt the meat. Instinctively, you raised your hand and pulled at Jeff's arm and a pull from your body to try and fight. Fear me. The complaint sounded almost childish, despite coming from a threatening man. You tried to respond, anything, but your vocal cords were being squeezed too tightly. You managed to hear his murmur before you felt the pressure on your neck release. His hand remained on your neck, but only pressed enough to immobilize you. You coughed and gasped for air, trying to recover your breath. But then you realized Jeff was again almost on top of you, knife in hand. You felt a pang of pain in your cheek, but it was for an instant. Jeff made a clean cut on the skin of your left cheek. You felt the tickle of a thin line of blood running down your jaw. Why aren't you afraid? Jeff examined you in silence, as if looking at your reaction would give him a satisfying answer. It wasn't as if you didn't really feel anything. You recognized the situation was dangerous. Your body knew it from the strong pounding of your heart. But as it had been from the start, you didn't care. He wanted you to fear him, but since he was threatening your life, and you didn't truly care about dying, consequently, you didn't fear him. I give up. I defy him. I give up. I defy him! You looked him directly in the eyes. So much drama. For this? Jeff's mouth twisted. You're just a generic killer, stalking your victim and taking them into an alley. If you wanted to make a better impression, you could be more original. Suddenly, Jeff's extended mouth quirked up, a strange sight. It was hard to see, but... Ah, God! Jeff plunged a knife below your ribs, taking your breath away! He leaned over your ear. You're a fighter, aren't you? Blood rose in your throat, choking you. Well, it seems like he interpreted your defiance as a way to fight for your life. That wasn't really the case, but you resigned yourself. Oh, come on! You prolonged the inevitable. Okay, fine. What if I just give up? You lowered your gaze, but not out of fear. Rather, out of weariness. What would you leave behind if you died? Not much, so you don't care anymore. Sorry, Jeff, but I don't have fear to give you. Jeff remained silent for a second until you noticed his smile suddenly widen. He slowly leaned towards you and licked your wounded cheek, wiping away the line of blood. His breath brushed against your skin, warm and damp. The touch of his tongue burned on the wound, making you hiss. You could accept him licking you. He was just being weird. But you couldn't shake off what he wanted to tell you with that action. I tease him. Lick me? How romantic. I'm melting. Maybe if we tease him enough, he'll leave you alone. You had to try. Jeff growled through gritted teeth, slamming you against the brick wall again. Again! Just make out with me already! You let out grown-up pain from the impact. Why don't you fear me? I don't know what you want me to say, Jeff. Jeff lowered his head, seemingly disappointed. He glanced around hesitantly, not knowing what to do. But then he straightened up again, his smile so wide his lips were taut. There's nothing I can do if you don't fear death. But I can make you fear me. He raised the knife again, but not to stab you in a vital spot. Instead, he slowly brought the tip to your face, level with your left eye. So, we'll do this. You swallow hard at the distorted vision of the knife tip, millimeters from your pupil. I'm going to hunt you. Every time I catch you, I'll hurt you. And every time you avoid me, I'll back off a little. Jeff's eyes trembled, almost white, like two spotlights in the dark. Wait. You lost the first round. Jeff dictated, pushing his hand forward. The blade dug into the corner of your eye, almost grazing your eyelid. You screamed with all your might until you felt your throat tear. Blood flowed like a small waterfall, and with your sudden body shake, blood spattered. Jeff laughed, satisfied with your reaction, and pushed the blade deeper, burying it into the soft flesh of your eyeball. You choked on your saliva, on the verge of vomiting from the unbearable pain. Your hands flailed at Jeff's chest, but you didn't move him an inch. Jeff violently shook the knife handle, moving it deeper into your eye. Oh, ow, God, I hated that. He shook the knife a little more and pulled, managing to yank out your eyeball, still connected by veins. Hey, what's going on back here? Is anyone there? Like heavenly bells, you managed to hear the voices of other people coming from nearby, but you no longer had the strength to stand. You collapsed to the ground, your left eye socket bleeding from the raw wound. Your vision was blurred and damaged. There was no way to trust what you saw. You could only focus on what you heard. Remember our game, Jeff murmured softly, his voice echoing from behind you. You managed to feel the footsteps of several people heading your way, so you surrendered to exhaustion and pain. Well, day 2. He had never felt so much pain before. Sure, you stumbled, scraped your knees, or burned your fingers with boiling water, normal things. But this was a whole other level. It wasn't the physical pain that bothered you most, but the kind of pain that made you aware that everything that was happening mattered more than you wanted it to. The kind of pain that wakes you up, forces you to exist, rips you from the comfort of feeling nothing. To top it off, you wanted to sleep. Sleeping had always been your best plan in any situation. But of course, life loves to ruin your plans. Are you awake? The voice was masculine, soft, with that educated tone that inspired confidence. You didn't wake up immediately. You felt your body heavy with fatigue. But after a couple of uncomfortable breaths, you managed to force yourself to see. Oh, that's right. White surrounded you. It took you a few seconds to realize you were on a hospital gurney. Rough sheets, the smell of disinfectant, and the fluorescent light of LED bulbs. Those are two completely different kinds of lights. The good thing is, if there was anything good, was that you were receiving medical care. Hopefully, they wouldn't let you die stupidly after everything you went through last night. Finally, you focus on the source of the voice. In front of you was a man in a white coat, young, well-groomed, with a kind face. Do you know where you are? Hospital? Hospital. The doctor nodded and wrote something on the papers he was carrying. Good. That's a good sign. Are you writing that down out of professionalism or because you need to fill space? The doctor raised an eyebrow at you, as if he hadn't expected such a blunt comment, but far from looking offended, he seemed intrigued. Both. Your voice was hoarse and your throat hurt. You swallowed hard, tried to soothe the pain. The doctor gave you a serious look, as if telling you to take it easy. Do you remember your name? I'm gonna say my name. I could flirt with the doctor, but I mean, there's nothing wrong with this. I mean, Jeff's not watching me right now, right? Right? He's not gonna see me flirt with the doctor. Clearly, just 1 point is not gonna kill me, right? The doctor let out a slight chuckle, shaking his head. Answer seriously. It's Lion. Your voice came out hoarse and broken, but clear enough for him to understand. The doctor nodded, concentrated. Evidently, he was asking you these questions to find out how disoriented your head was. All right. Do you know why you're here? You didn't answer immediately. The image appeared on its own, a scarred face, sunken eyes, a distorted smile. And the laughter. That damned laugh. Of course you knew why you were here. Someone attacked me. The doctor approached and took your hand firmly. He didn't ask if you wanted that gesture, he just did it. This place is safe. He can't hurt you now. He? How'd you know it was a he? You stared at his hand over yours. You didn't know what was worse, the pain or how strange it felt for someone to comfort you in such a proper way. Good service, you thought. Maybe they'll bring you free coffee later. He noticed your silence and quickly pulled his hand back. He cleared his throat, embarrassed. Sorry, I haven't introduced myself. I'm your doctor, Paul Salazar. It took you a second to process. Nice to meet you, Dr. Salazar. I'd say I would have liked to meet you in another situation, but, you know. He offered you a brief smile, unsure whether to laugh or apologize again. I'll explain your situation in a bit. He straightened up, becoming more serious. You've got head injuries. We need to monitor you for vomiting, dizziness, or loss of consciousness. I think my head injury is probably the least of my worries right now. You also have some minor cuts. You don't need stitches, but no scratching or touching them. Understood? The exact moment he said it, the itch attacked you. Damn suggestion! The most important thing now, you suffered asphyxiation. Don't strain yourself. Don't talk much. If you feel dizzy or have trouble breathing, let us know. You nodded in silence, slowly settling down into the gurney. The fabric of the gown scratched your skin a little. The mattress smelled of disinfectant. Everything smelled of disinfectant. The doctor smells of disinfectant. And about your eye. His tone changed, as if he was about to deliver very bad news. I'm sorry. We couldn't save it. Cold. As if someone had opened a window in the middle of winter. Instinctively, you raised a trembling hand to the left side of your face. Just bandages. Just emptiness. You had imagined losing things. Objects, relationships, time. But this was different. Losing pieces. You'll be able to live a normal life. He said quickly, as if wanting to remedy your situation. You'll lose some depth perception, but it won't impede your life. Later, you can opt for a prosthesis if you wish. Now, the important thing is that it heals well. He noticed your silence. Your lack of reaction made him uncomfortable. He leaned slightly towards you. Are you okay? I'll be okay. I'll be fine. It's just one eye. I have another. You didn't know if that was true, but it didn't matter. You didn't say it for him. You said it to cut off the conversation. Talking hurts. Listening did too. Salazar looked at you, as if wanting to read something more on your face, but he only found the usual. Apathy. You don't have to pretend to be strong. We have professionals you can talk to. I am not pretending. I just don't care. There it was, the barrier, subtle but solid. You didn't want comfort. You didn't want company. You just wanted to be left alone. For a second, the silence in the room weighed more than the pain in your body. Is there anyone you'd like to call? Any family, a friend, a partner? You didn't want to admit your life was solitary, but you couldn't just lie to your doctor. I don't have family, don't talk to your family. My family lives in another city. That's going to make things a little complicated. Dr. Salazar scratched his head awkwardly. Precisely why you didn't want to say anything in the first place. There must be someone in the city you're in contact with, right? A coworker? Talk about work reminded you of a certain person. Wait, what time is it, Doctor? Dr. Salazar shook his wrist and glanced at his watch. It's 4 a.m. Why? There is someone I can call, but it's really early. Someone attacked you. They'll understand. You pursed your lips into a line with doubt. You did have much closeness with her, but you couldn't think of anyone else. Alright, I'll give you her number. You wrote a phone number on a piece of paper and handed it to him. Staff members will be coming by to monitor you. You can ask them for whatever you need. Okay. Dr. Salazar nodded slightly at your affirmation and headed for the room door. But before leaving, he turned to you. When you feel better, you can talk to the police. For now, rest. And with that, the doctor left the room, leaving you with your thoughts. You vaguely remembered hearing people approach you when you passed out in the alley. They surely scared Jeff away. The important thing is that you're safe and monitored. There's no way Jeff can reach you, right? It wasn't strange that you worried about it, since the last thing he told you was that he would hunt you down until he found you. But again, you were in a hospital, so it was supposed to be safe. All that thinking exhausted you again, so you settled into the gurney to rest. A few minutes. You wanted to sleep, even if just for a few minutes. As you slept, you could have sworn you felt a caress on your cheek. It was soft and delicate, fingers tracing your right cheekbone, moving down your jaw to lightly brush your lips. Who was touching me? Opening your single eye, you scanned the room, looking for whoever might have touched you while you slept. No! Jeff has been touching me in my sleep! No! Cindy touched me in my Lion! Suddenly, and to your great surprise, Cindy wrapped her arms around your shoulders, leaning in for a tight hug. You froze. I thought you wouldn't wake up. Oh, thank goodness. Cindy pulled away from you, treating you with a delicacy you weren't used to. Is it your imagination, or is it as if Cindy was playing the role of your best friend? She was by far your best friend. You'd only known her for a while. Okay, you were the one who gave Salazar her contact, but only because she's the closest person you have on hand. What's with all the affection? A ray seemed to strike Cindy, making her recoil with a dismayed expression. I don't know, but it's like you suddenly became very important. You weren't even in the demos! So you weren't before? Okay, one thing is you thinking that about yourself personally, but it hurts a little to hear someone else say it. When I found out what happened to you, I came right away. Phrasing! I didn't want you to be alone right now. How are you feeling? Cindy sat in the chair to your right, this time maintaining a more cordial distance. Understandable, you only worked in the same store. A little pain, but I think overall I'm fine. Cindy lowered her gaze with concern, then raised it to you. She sighed heavily, bringing her fingers to her forehead. I told you to be careful. That comment was unnecessary. Was she trying to blame you? As if what happened to you was your fault and not the bastard who ripped out your eye. I'll remind you, I was attacked. It was not my fault. I don't mean that. No, you're supposed to be a caring coworker? What a bad joke. Lion! It wasn't the volume of her voice, nor the fact that she called you by your name. It was her heartbreaking tone that made you stop. I don't understand myself either. I didn't think you mattered so much to me. Hey. You were on the verge of dying and I was terrified. I just lost an eye! It's like you've started to develop a gravitational field and now several people are revolving around you. Jeff, Salazar, Cindy... Salazar?! He's my doctor! Why would he be into me? It only took a madman to stalk you and rip out your eye, right? I don't know how to explain it, but I'm worried about you. Can you stop being an idiot about it and just accept it? You couldn't help but fall silent at her declaration. You'd be lying if you said your heart didn't beat fast. I thank her. Thank you, Cindy? Cindy looked at you in a comforting silence. I'm not one to say these things, but thank you for worrying about me. Cindy lowered her gaze, then smiled faintly. You're not doing a very good job on your own, so I don't mind doing it for you. Yeah. Cindy smiled faintly, but then her expression changed. The one who attacked you. Was it the same weirdo from the store? After a light knock on your room door, two people appeared. Perfect timing to interrupt your conversation. Who the hell? Good evening, Lion. We're Lieutenant West and Detective Sean. Can we ask you a few questions? Oh, Lieutenant West is the woman. You looked at the police with your one eye. A man and a woman, dressed in formal attire. The man spoke, showing his badge, and the woman, Detective Sean, did the same. Okay, so West is the man. Sean is the lady. Sure. They looked at you seriously, but at the same time, they didn't seem very worried about you. Rather, it seemed they were more interested in what you had to say. Your doctor told us you had visitors. If it's more comfortable for you, we can do the interview with her present. Lion just woke up. They need to rest. Cindy spoke over her shoulder to them, uninterested in their presence. Okay, you know what? She gets one affection point for acting that way. The sooner we talk, the sooner we'll catch whoever did this to you. Heat rose from your chest to your head, to your eye socket. You didn't know if it was a response from your body or just anger towards Jeff, but you managed to hide it. It's okay, Cindy. I'll answer what I can. The detectives seemed to relax a little at your words. They stood on the other side of your bed, Wes standing next to you, making eye contact to convey more trust, while Sean took out a notebook to take notes. Classic. Good cop, bad cop. Let's start with the most important thing. Did you see your attacker? Oh yeah, it wasn't pretty. Could you give us more details? Like his social security number? You were joking, obviously. You were in a hospital bed with one eye missing and on painkillers. You were allowed to have some fun. They asked if it was a man or woman. Height, build, clothes. I know, jeez. Nobody appreciates a joke. It was a man. White. Tall. I don't know. Maybe 6'3". He was wearing a white hoodie. Terrible clothes for a criminal, if you ask me. You glanced at Cindy. Easy, since she was on your right side. She had a thoughtful expression. Most likely, she had concluded you were talking about Jeff, or, as she knew him, the weirdo from the store. Any special characteristics? His face was messed up, if you know what I mean. The three of them looked at you in silence for a few seconds, and you felt pressured to give more details. He had a lot of scars. His mouth, it was ripped. Cindy looked so disgusted with the description that she seemed about to vomit. Wait, do you just hate the fact that I just referred to his face as ripped? Wes and Sean exchanged a silent glance, then looked back at you. All right. Did anything unusual happen the day of your attack? I think the normal amount of weird that we all could have in a day. Stop messing around! Cindy scolded you, not shouting, but using an elevated tone of voice that made you pout. That was a weird guy who showed up at the store. What would you define as weird? Cindy rolled her eyes. Wow, you didn't see Cindy as someone who rebels against authority. He went on and on for over an hour. He was very interested in Lion. Wes directed his attention to you, raising an eyebrow. Did you interact with him? Yeah. Well, truthfully, I flirted with him a little. I love that she's just so appalled by this. You felt everyone in the room judging you. What? Yeah, it was strange, but it was almost cute. The air grew uncomfortable. Did he say anything about himself? Any motive or why he left you alive? The question surprised you. It was as if they were surprised you had survived. Well, she wasn't entirely wrong to ask that, since it was precisely Jeff's threat that kept you alive. You might have revealed that part of the information by a slip of the tongue, but Cindy interrupted before he could say anything. What kind of question is that? We're building a profile of the suspect. Any details can help us. The guy literally has his face covered. He's full of scars. What more do you want? How can you not find someone like that? Miss, you need to calm down. No, for a case like this, with the physical description, you should already be looking for him. The longer it takes, the further he might be. The room fell silent for a few moments, and you felt awkward about the argument. You're right. We'll stop for now. But Lieutenant, Lion needs to rest. Wes guided Sean towards the room exit, turning back to you one last time. Get well. You nodded in silence, watching them leave. Again, you were alone with Cindy. This time, the silence was heavy with many questions. Questions that surely would have been useful for catching Jeff. Cindy mumbled to herself, but then noticed your gaze on her, so she straightened in her seat as if nothing had happened. Don't worry. They'll find him. Should you mention Jeff's promise? It would probably be the smartest thing to do, but for now, you allowed yourself to ask just one thing. Hey, Cindy. You don't like the cops? Cindy started in her seat, and her face paled. She averted her gaze, rubbing her fingers indecisively. It was clear she didn't want to answer. It's okay. Forget about it. You brushed it off with a smile and a wave of your hand. Fortunately, Cindy seemed to relax. I'm going to get breakfast. I'll be back in a bit. Okay, could you bring me something? Sure. What do you prefer? Something salty, I guess. Cindy nodded and stood up. She headed for the room door, but before she could grasp the handle, someone else opened it. Cindy moved aside, letting the doctor in. She gave a brief greeting, glancing at him before leaving the room. Oh, hi, Jeff. He watched the doctor enter the room in silence, carrying a metal tray. You remember Dr. Salazar warning you that they will come periodically to monitor you. He began to move his hands, preparing whatever was on the tray. That'll be nice. Hello. The doctor didn't respond, blatantly ignoring you as he went about his business. Wait, what if I was cold? Oh. Okay. Are you here to monitor me or something? You received no answer. You sighed and looked away. You didn't know if it was a response to trauma or something else, but you felt a certain aversion to this tall man, dressed in white with long black hair. He's suspicious, isn't he? Anyway, your throat felt dry. Excuse me, could I have some water? The doctor suddenly froze and stayed like that for a few seconds. Then he moved again. You could only see the doctor's back from your spot. You heard the unmistakable sound of water being poured. From where? From where? The simple sound made you thirstier, most likely because your sore throat begged to be refreshed. The doctor took a few steps and approached you. Hi, Jeff. You tried to sit up, but your body felt very heavy. You felt a hand on your back, helping you to straighten up. The touch was soft and attentive. It made you realize how vulnerable you were. Then you felt the rim of a glass at your lips. You drank water slowly, your throat burning but relieved by the coolness. You didn't just take a sip. When you finished, you sighed with a relief, glancing at the doctor attending to you. His bangs covered his features, and he wore a disposable mask. Well, where had you seen that before? Mock him. How many years of medical school did it take for you to know that an unconscious patient needs to be hydrated, Doc? You were playing with fire, but the situation was so bizarre you couldn't take it seriously. The doctor didn't respond, and went back to his previous spot, doing whatever he was doing. After drinking water, you felt better and could speak. According to Dr. Salazar's instructions, you shouldn't talk much, but you felt well enough to maintain a conversation, even if unilateral. Flirt. If I had known they take such good care, I would have come here more often. It was quite obvious that this doctor had no interest in getting along with you. You didn't know whether to take it personally or not. You would expect to be treated with care in a hospital, but everything indicated that wouldn't be the case. Complain. Hey, if you don't feel like getting along with people, I think you should reevaluate your career. Did you hear me? The doctor continued to remain silent. He was starting to annoy you. One more try. Maybe you could get some words out of him if you insisted one last time. Show interest. I already know Dr. Salazar. Are you a student? Perhaps his colleague? No, I'm something much better than that. The doctor returned to your side, pulling down his disposable mask to his chin. Hello, Lion. Enjoying your stay at the hospital? What a shame. I'm not a fan of this place. But you seem to be. You had no time to speak when Jeff pulled out a scalpel. Jeff, listen to me! No. There's nothing to say. You prefer doctors. You don't need any more explanations. Oh, come on! Jeff thrusts his arm towards you, piercing your throat with the tip of the scalpel. You choked on your blood, gurgling, unable to scream or speak. I'm not that good as a surgeon. Jeff whispered against her ear. You inhaled with difficulty, coughing up blood. But I'm not lacking in passion. The scalpel blade slid from your neck to your collarbone, opening your skin like a zipper. The blade so deep you felt the metal clash against your bones. He laughed with enthusiasm, amused by the sight of you writhing in pain as blood gushed from your neck and spilled everywhere, soaking the hospital ground and the sheets beneath you. It hurts, but for some reason, not that much. You felt a tingling sensation where you were wounded. Most likely, you were on painkillers. Good thing. Of course, being slashed with a scalpel wasn't the way you would have preferred to die. But certainly the fact that you did experience the true pain made it better. Maybe they'll catch Jeff once someone shows up, given how he kept lingering beside you, laughing like the madman he was. In the end, did he kill you because you were nice to the doctors? It can't be that he was jealous. Nah, that could be it. Maybe he just hated hospitals, like he said. And of course I died. Ending 2. No doctor could save you. Right, okay, so I know to be cold this time, and we've already read through this. I'm gonna mock him. Okay, I'm going to be distrustful. Are you really a doctor? It was quite obvious that this doctor had no interest in getting along with you. Okay, got it. I complain. I'm complaining. I'm gonna tell him what happened to me. You know, someone attacked me. The doctor remained motionless in his spot. It was someone I talked to at my job. I guess he didn't like me. Oh, I wouldn't say that. The doctor suddenly murmured, his voice way too familiar. The doctor returned to your side, pulling down his disposable mask to his chin. Okay, do I survive this? What do you mean? Okay, maybe I need to max out his affection and just not trust anyone else. Maybe I need to do that. So I'm going to mock him first. Who are you? The badge security? The man shrugged, unconcerned. I just wanted to make sure I gave it to the right person. I clearly work here. He chuckled. Yeah, but could have belonged to someone else. It literally has my photo printed on it! The man waved it off dismissively. Would you have preferred it if I gave your badge to just any uniformed person who claimed it was theirs? His logic was strangely convincing. I guess not. The man cocked his head with a smirk. You couldn't see it through the bandana, but you knew he was smiling. See? I'm not so bad. The fact that he said that made you think the opposite. He silently put the badge around your neck while he remained motionless in his spot. Skip. And he didn't say anything weird. I'm going to meet his gaze, because clearly he likes it. I watch horror. I watch Scream. I go with it. I'm gonna be direct. Hey, buddy. Could you hurry up? What's the rush? There aren't many customers here besides me. Do you even want to buy anything? The guy chuckled. Yeah, I'm just indecisive. I'm not bothering anyone. He glanced back, searching for Cindy. Bye, Cindy! I high-five him, because he likes that. Are you single? I'm gonna flirt, and I'm gonna answer sarcastically. No, not at all! I love wasting time with weirdos who walk in circles as if they are lost in a supermarket. Jeff's eyes widened, feigning offense. Hey! That was mean! You're gonna make me cry. He clutched his chest dramatically, then chuckled again. This time, his laugh was softer, more genuine. I don't know if this was funny because I talked to you or because I ruined your day. The statement came out with an unsettling frankness. Does Jeff just like it when I piss him off? Like, does he just like it when I insult him? Is that Jeff's kink? Does he just like to be insulted? Wait, that can't be the case, right? I wouldn't know how to feel about that. You didn't know how to react, but you knew that in the end, Jeff had done things on purpose. Well, at least you admit you weren't exactly a delight. Sure, I'm not an idiot. I know what kind of reaction I get from people. Jeff shrugged, then tilted his head, questioning and mocking. Do you treat all customers like this, or am I special? You couldn't help but let out a small laugh at his words. You know what? I don't usually spend so much energy on strangers, but you earned it. Jeff straightened up suddenly, pleased, as if he'd been told he achieved a great feat. Yeah, I'll take it. For a moment, you thought Jeff meant he appreciated your words until you noticed his eyes were fixed on the movie you had chosen to put in the player. Oh, great, he said with relief. Finally, Jeff would take something. And it was something you knew he liked. You felt good about doing your job well, after all. Thanks for shopping with us. Jeff nodded, taking the movie in its bag, and headed for the exit. It was a pleasure. He waved goodbye, and you reciprocated with your own hand, though not as enthusiastically as his. Well, you managed to sell something to the weirdo of the day. It was an accomplishment after all. Ah, my workday is over. Yay! Hi, Jeff. I tease. Wait, one day, he's asking if I'm afraid. Yes, I'm so scared. And what if I said it's your face? My face? You're not the only person who said that. Yeah, well, it's a look. It's unique. Jeff's smile stretched. Are you saying I'm beautiful? Well, he seemed vain about his appearance. Sure, your scars are enchanting. This is more fun than I thought it'd be. Yep. I chase you. Click, I give up. I tease. Oh, my eyes! This is hospital. No, this is heaven. I think I have an angel in front of. Wait, hold on. Are the hearts like points for Jeff, or are they points for? I have no idea. I'm just gonna make a save right now. I'm just gonna say I'm in the hospital. I will say my name. It's Lion. Whatever. Bye. I'll be fine. My family lives far away. I question her. By any chance, did you caress me while I was sleeping? Cindy stared at you, expressionless. Ew, no. Yep, that's the Cindy you knew. Well then, who touched me? What do I know? It's not like... Cindy stopped speaking, as if a thought had struck her. The one who attacked you. Was it the same weirdo from the store? Yes, it was. I say the truth. They gave me something sweet. Well, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna take the salty. I be cold. I mock him. I'm distrustful. I complain. I tell him what happened. The doctor returned to your side, pulling down his disposable mask to his chin. Ah, Jeff, what a surprise! I didn't know it was you. I don't appreciate your sarcasm. Your heart pounded, a response to the proximity of the person who ripped out your left eye. Your body was afraid, but your mind wasn't. So, did you come to give me special care? Maybe with a happy ending? Jeff chuckled, pulling a syringe from his pocket. Oh, it's a very happy ending! Something like that. What are you doing? He brought the syringe to your IV and injected it into the tubing. Relax. It won't kill you. It'll make you feel a little agitated. The moment he said that, you felt your heart start to pound faster. You began to breathe rapidly, as if you had just run a marathon. Instinctively, you brought a hand to your chest, clutching the fabric of the hospital gown. You... bastard! Jeff clicked his tongue, shaking his head. Have some respect for your doctor. Jeff reached his hand towards you and held your chin between his fingers, lifting your head to look at him. Feeling weak and tired, you let yourself be held, too drained to scream for help or break free from his grip. Remember, we're playing. I'm in the hospital! How do you expect me to escape you? Cheater! You gasped in frustration, lacking the energy to speak properly. Consider it a warning. Jeff shrugged, unconcerned. Suddenly, an alarm began to blare, and the sound of rapid footsteps came from outside the room. That's my cue. Jeff put his mask back on and stood up. I hope you improve your strategy. It would be a shame if you ended up boring me. Jeff said, before disappearing among the small crowd of nurses and doctors who entered and headed for you. We have severe hyperkalemia. Administer calcium glycinate intravenously. 10 milliliter of 10% solution. Slowly. Now! Amidst instructions and medical jargon you didn't fully understand, you eyed Jeff suspiciously as he retreated, as if nothing had happened, hidden in plain sight. Was it really that easy for him to infiltrate? Either Jeff had a superhuman ability to go unnoticed, or the people in this hospital were inept. You wanted to believe it was the first option. Anyway, they were able to treat you quickly, so you felt considerably better. If you notice compromised kidney function, order urgent dialysis. Dr. Salazar was giving instructions to another doctor, one you now were sure was a resident. The resident nodded at Dr. Salazar's orders and withdrew, leaving you two alone. Dr. Salazar rubbed his temples and came to your bedside. His gaze reflected concern, so you couldn't help but look away, feeling guilty. Lion, you suffered severe hyperkalemia. Do you have any idea what might have caused it? You bit your lower lip at the question. You were having a hard time convincing yourself to trust anyone with the whole Jeff situation? I'm gonna keep it to myself. You decided it was best to deal with it on your own. The fact that Jeff was able to walk into a hospital and inject you with something under guard told you that the protection in that place was not safe. I don't know. I was unconscious the whole time. Dr. Salazar leaned towards you, placing a hand on the side of your head. Whatever happened, you can trust me. Yeah, no. You managed to survive so far. You can continue to do so without anyone's help. Call it a feeling, but something told you Jeff wasn't going to attack you anytime soon, so you had time to form a plan. Jeff didn't hurt you as much as he did before, so he probably meant it when he said it was a warning. A warning that he could do far worse to you, and it's up to you to prevent it. So no, you didn't have to trust the doctor you just met. Doctor, I'm telling the truth. Dr. Salazar looked at you for a few seconds, unconvinced, then sighed and distanced himself. Okay, try to rest. You nodded silently, but unlike before, the doctor called someone from outside the room. A nurse quickly arrived. Be alert to the monitor. If there's any change, report it. The nurse nodded at the instruction and stayed in the room, near the heart monitor you had connected. Clearly, Dr. Salazar didn't trust leaving you alone. I'll come periodically. You didn't know if he said it to the nurse or to you, but you nodded anyway and lay back on the stretcher with a tired sigh. Surviving a sadistic killer was exhausting. When Cindy arrived and Dr. Salazar told her you had a minor seizure, she became so concerned that she considered staying with you for the rest of the day. Even though you appreciated the gesture, you weren't entirely happy with it, so you convinced her to go to work, asking her to cover for you. Anyway, Dr. Salazar gave you a week of rest. Since you were kept under observation, you had to spend the rest of the day and night in the hospital, but when the next morning came, everything was ready to discharge you. You're sick, day 3. The next day, you were discharged. And luckily, you had the transportation issue covered. Go ahead, Lion. Lieutenant West opened the car door for you, while Detective Sean took the driver's seat. You got up from the wheelchair you were taken to the hospital entrance in. Lion! You turned at the sound of your name. Dr. Salazar? What is it? Dr. Salazar took a moment to breathe, then handed you a business card. Why? My card. You can call me whenever you want, or if you need anything. You took the piece of paper and playfully shook it. Who would have thought I could get someone's number if I get hurt a little? Dr. Salazar's mouth dropped open in surprise. Then he cleared his throat, his cheeks flushed. This is a professional concern. Wes raised an eyebrow at the doctor, who awkwardly scratched his head and retreated. Has the doctor been appropriate with you? Yes! Yes, he has. He's been overtly nice. Wes shrugged and gestured back to the car. Legit? Like, if a doctor acted that way towards me, I would have so many questions. Like, no! This time, without interruption, you sat in the back seat. When Wes got into the passenger seat, the car started and drove off. Most of the time, there was silence until you suddenly saw Wes nudge Sean. She cleared her throat, looked at you in the rear view mirror. So, Lion, how are you feeling? It surprised you that the more distant cop was trying to talk to you, but you didn't have to be rude and reject her efforts. Well, mostly because of the painkillers. You couldn't help but caress the clinical patch covering your left eye socket with your fingertips. Sean paused, then replied, You may have scars, but they are proof that you survived. You couldn't help but be surprised for a moment by the encouraging comment, but you had to admit, it made your day. Thank you? Sean looked straight ahead, focused on the road, but something made you think she felt calmer. Will your girlfriend come to see you at your home? Your mind froze for an instant at Wes's question. Excuse me? Miss Cindy. Oh. You didn't know whether to be offended or embarrassed. She's just a coworker. We're not even that close. Oh. I thought, okay. Why are the cops just assuming so much? The way both Cindy and the doctor acted is just so strange. Okay, I know that both Cindy and Dr. Salazar are love interests, but among the three, I feel like Jeff is the most well-adjusted, and he's legit a killer. Why is the killer more well-adjusted than the doctor and my coworker? He turned to Sean with a look that asked for help, but he was completely ignored. I saw she was very attentive and protective of you. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. It's fine. It also strikes me that way. But it's nice to see that someone cares about me in the city. You're on your own. I understand. Yeah, but I deal with it. We can ask for protection for you. Now the cops are being weird to me! Like watching where I live? Yes. Now we can assume your attacker's on the run, but we can't assume he won't come back to finish the job. Wes shifted uncomfortably in his seat. Police. It's okay. I don't mind. In fact, having protection gave you a sense of security, considering Jeff would come looking for you. You were aware that you were hindering the investigation by concealing key information, such as Jeff's name and the game he initiated. But after witnessing how easily he got away with it in the hospital, something told you the universe was on his side. Honestly, it makes me feel a little better. A shiver of danger ran down your neck, as if your body sensed Jeff's presence nearby. Is he in the boot? The memory of the sharp pain of your eye being ripped out made you settle deeper into your seat. Perhaps, just perhaps, it was affecting you more than you cared to admit. We're here. You saw your building's entrance from the car window, making you sigh with relief. Finally, you could go back to your bed. We'll be on alert. We'll notify you of any updates. This is my number. Call if you need anything, and I assure you, my concern is strictly professional. Okay, I trust Wes to be professional rather than Dr. Salazar. I think he's actually being professional here. You took the business card with your fingertips, seeing the name printed W.S. No! I asked about the case. Can I ask you something? They looked at you from their seats, expecting your next words. I couldn't help but notice that you were surprised to see me survive. Wes looked at Sean for a moment. Seriously, she nodded firmly. We have to tell them, Wallace. Wes paused, then sighed heavily. We suspect someone who might be the man who attacked you. You swallowed hard. Who do you think it is? We believe it's someone named Jeff. We don't know his last name exactly. He's a very dangerous man. He's been evading the law for over a decade. Wes settled into his seat to face you. Lion, he's a crazy killer. And if we're right about this, you'd be the first victim we know of that he leaves alive. Well, that was a big information dump. Presumably valuable. All right, I understand. Are you going to be okay on your own? Do you want us to get you a hotel? Nah, I think I'll be fine. Wes looked at you indecisively for a moment, but then gave in when he saw you get out of the car. He closed the door and stood on the sidewalk for a moment, watching the car blend into traffic. You sighed with relief, turning towards your building's lobby. When you reached your apartment, it was just as you had left it 2 days ago. The apartment was furnished, and you had a few belongings, so there was no mess, but definitely leaving the place for 2 days had caused some dust to accumulate. So the first thing you did was sweep and dust. You opened the windows while shaking the sofa cushions, then dusted the TV. You threw out all the bad food in the fridge and cleaned the inside. You went to the bathroom where you cleaned the surfaces until you couldn't see a trace of dirt. Finally, you reached your bedroom. It was emptier than you would have liked. You would have... Posters, lights, furniture. I think I'd have posters. Whatever it was to cover the white walls. Anyway, now you don't have the time to worry about that. You have to deal with the most important thing. You locked all the windows you could reach, then went to the entrance and double-locked the doors. You peered out the window and saw a patrol car parked on the street across from you. You sighed, sitting on the sofa, recovering your breath and the sense of security you had lost a long time ago. Technically, Jeff couldn't reach you. He shouldn't. But you can never be too sure, for the convenience of the script. To distract yourself, you turned on the TV and changed channels until you found one you were interested in, until you landed on a news report showing a very familiar scene. Is that the street where the video store is? You turned up the volume, with more interest. A person was attacked at 9 p.m. on Thursday with serious injuries. Medical sources reported that the victim is recovering. Why are they reporting this days after? Descriptions of the attacker indicate a tall, white male between 20 and 30 years old with scars on his face. He wears black and white clothes and frequently covers his face. The suspect is attributed with 27 murders, but investigators estimate the real number could exceed 100. It was pretty obvious they were talking about your attack. You felt your hands lose strength. The more you listened to the journalist, the more you learned about Jeff. He had killed so many people? Did he really leave you alive? You vaguely remembered Wes arguing with some people outside your hospital room. He was surely chasing away journalists and wanted to talk to you. Better that way. You would have had less chance to mess up. If they had put you in front of cameras with microphones in your face and journalists look at you hungry for information, you would have revealed information that wouldn't have been convenient for Jeff's stalking. Because everything indicated that no matter where you went, Jeff would find you. Feeling the sweat run down your face, you went to the bathroom and washed your face, sighing in front of the sink. You looked at yourself in the mirror, and for the first time, you witnessed your current appearance. Your expression was tired, not haggard yet, but close. Dark, finger-shaped marks surrounded your neck, making you swallow. But then you noticed the patch over your left eye. With trembling fingers, you unhooked the elastic straps of the patch from your head, revealing an adhesive patch. You removed that piece, and all that remained was a gauze. Patiently, you removed the gauze to finally see what Jeff had done to you. After removing the piece of cloth, you saw your eyelid drooping, and when you tried to blink, your eyelid trembled, revealing the inside of your eye socket, covered with pink, shiny skin. You felt curious and extended your lower eyelid to get a better look at the inside of your eye socket. It's strange, but somehow, you feel like your eye is still there. What was it called? Phantom sensation? If you looked to your right, you felt your left eye do the same, even though it clearly wasn't there anymore. It's one of my best works. You froze at the voice. Your vision cleared, and in the mirror's reflection behind you, you could see Jeff's silhouette. You turned suddenly, your heart pounding. But there was no one. You took a moment to catch your breath, then brought a hand to your face. Were you really starting to hallucinate? It seemed Jeff had made quite an impression on you. Could it be that you were truly afraid? I feel like this is important. No. It wasn't that big of... But yes. Oh, neither of this matters. So, no, I'm not afraid. It's not that big of a deal. That was your body reacting to trauma. Nothing more. All that thinking about that madman was making you tired. You went to the kitchen to eat something. You decided to make some instant ramen. You accompanied it with soda and took your painkillers, then went to bed. You wanted to go to sleep, feeling safe, thinking you'd be fine. But since someone is reading this, that won't happen. Someone's reading this! You heard a creak, which woke you up immediately. You didn't know if it was because you're a light sleeper or because you're alert, but you were glad it was. You stayed in your spot for a moment, hoping it was just your imagination again, but you heard another creak. This time you knew it was there because there was someone in your house. You have to hide. Bed. You crawled as silently as possible under the bed and waited. You heard soft, continuous creaks. Suddenly, you saw feet, woo, crossing your bedroom door, and your breathing stopped. Black combat boots advanced slowly, surrounding your bed. You watched, praying he would leave soon. The person stayed for a few more moments, then retreated with the same slowness. You felt you could breathe again. You stayed for a few moments, then started thinking about what to do next. Damn it. Closet? I'm cooked! You waited for a few seconds, which turned into an eternity, as you heard the sound of someone opening doors and rummaging through things. But your hopes of having chosen a good hiding spot vanished when you heard the closet door open. Lion. Jeff sounded delighted to see you, but the giant knife in his hand didn't inspire anything good. You lost again. Ah! Yeah, you had all time to think as Jeff stabbed you in the stomach. You said you'd hurt me, not straight up kill me! You fell to the floor because of the intense pain and loss of blood. You're not that good at this game, Lion. Feeling the cold moonlight filter through the windows, you fell unconscious. God damn it, Jeff! Okay, so bed was the first option. So, second choice, living room. Cooked. You waited patiently, in silence, hoping time would pass quickly. But a creak in front of you froze you. Hi, Jeff. Did you know you have to hide? Oh well. Jeff grabbed you by the neck, choking you. And then you felt yourself being pierced in the side. Well, that was too easy. Of course I died! Okay, so bed and toilet. Oh! You tiptoed to the bathroom and locked the door. You got into the tub, taking shelter behind the curtains. You waited patiently, listening to the sound of someone opening doors and moving things. Suddenly, silence. Closet. Okay, not the closet, living room. Ow! Stealthily, you went to the living room and hid behind the sofa. You waited patiently in silence, hoping time would pass quickly. Also, you were in a very exposed place. Closet. You went into the closet and stayed silent, listening to your heartbeat in your ears. You waited for seconds, which felt like an eternity, as you heard someone opening doors and moving things around. Your hopes were fading. You couldn't go from one place to another all night. How could he be so persistent? Exhaustion was overcoming you. You felt your legs losing strength. You slowly fell to your knees, leaning against the wall. You no longer cared if Jeff caught you. To hell with him and his stupid game. Suddenly, you heard a heavy sigh from somewhere in your apartment. Slowly and stealthily, you peered through the closet opening. What the hell? Is he okay? Jeff was in your living room, suddenly lit by the moonlight filtering through the window. He had the knife in his hand, which made you think you were lucky to have avoided him. I know you hear me, Lion! You win this round! Your exhaustion vanished for an instant, replaced by euphoria. But don't forget, he'll be watching you. That was a fact you already knew. He had visited you in the hospital and followed you home. It goes without saying that you no longer felt safe anywhere. You heard the main door open and close, and that filled you with a relief that made you fall unconscious in your spot. Anyway, how could that maniac have fooled the police? One of three options. 1, he killed the police. That's the most tedious scenario, as they will involve many more police. 2, the police didn't see him, which caused you immense disappointment. And 3, Jeff is very good at slipping away. You still didn't know how he did it. Maybe you'll find out in the future. Maybe not. Time will tell. Oh. Day 3 was fairly short. The next day was strangely calm. The night before, you barely got any decent sleep in the closet. It must be said. The relief of feeling that his stalking had ended, even if for just one day, drained your body's strength. So you woke up in the cramped space of the closet with an aching body. The first thing you did upon waking was look out the window, and you didn't know whether to laugh or cry when you saw the same patrol car from yesterday in the same spot. I'm gonna cry. Did Jeff really sneak into your apartment that easily? You checked the locks, and they weren't broken. That meant Jeff, besides bypassing the police, didn't force his way in. What the fuck? Everything was becoming way too convenient, especially for a suspense story. Before, you were sure Jeff was human, but now you were starting to consider other options. You secured the front door again, and considered buying a new deadbolt. But first things first, you had to eat breakfast. You opened your fridge, and disappointment flooded you when you saw it was practically empty. There were 2 wrinkled tomatoes, a half-empty juice carton you checked by shaking it, and half a lemon? Remember throwing out the spoiled food the day before, but you also hadn't gone grocery shopping. You prepared to leave, grabbing your wallet and heading to your apartment's entryway, fiddling with your keys. You took one last look inside your apartment and left, locking all the doors. A moment of doubt stopped you, and you checked the light bulb in the upper corner of your door. Excellent. Jeff's superhuman ability to get into your apartment was called spare keys. You couldn't believe you had actually forgotten that. The mini market you visited was 2 blocks away from your apartment, on the opposite side of the video store. It didn't have many things, but it was enough for desperate times like now. You looked for essentials among the aisles and refrigerators. Normal option. Walking to the checkout, you felt a movement in the corner of your right eye, a white movement. Your heart raced, but the presence of many people restored some confidence, so you suddenly followed the movement. You approached a snack shelf. Among the price tags, colorful bags, and shiny containers, you could perceive a white glint hidden on the other side of the shelf. You leaned around the corner, slowly peeking out. You could make out the posture of someone crouched, wearing white clothes. Lion! The call of your name startled you, make you drop your groceries. Oh, I'm so sorry. What are you doing here? You watched in amazement as Dr. Salazar knelt down, beginning to pick up your groceries. Dr. Salazar? You can call me Paul. No! Okay, Dr. Salazar. What are you doing here? You didn't know if Jeff's stalking was starting to affect you more than you'd like, but you convinced yourself you were just taking precautions. You didn't need another stalker on your list. My shift ended a few hours ago. I like coming to a coffee shop nearby and couldn't help but see you through the windows. I hope it doesn't bother you. I am very much bothered! Salazar chuckled softly, awkwardly, as if trying to shed a bad image. Okay, no, just get away from me. You knelt too, finishing picking up your things. How are you feeling? How's your, eye? You instinctively brought a hand to your left eyelid, covered by the patch. It doesn't hurt anymore. That's good to hear. Are you going to want a prosthesis? What? Are you just trying to sell me a new eye? Can I choose the color? Of course. You can choose the color and the size of the iris, the pupil, and even the sclera. That's great. I'll think about it. Dr. Salazar nodded with a faint smile. Can I help you with your shopping? No! You're very kind, but no! Anything for my patient. Get away from me! Salazar helped you carry your things to the checkout, and you paid. You left the store and stood on the sidewalk for a moment. You held one of the bags in your hand while he carried the other. Let me carry my own shit, please. Are you doing your groceries? It's for my breakfast. Salazar looked at you with surprised eyes, then shook his head. It's already noon, Lion. You flinched at the scolding. Hearing it from a doctor made you feel more guilty. I know! I just lost my eyeball, doctor, but I'm on it! He looked at you in silence for a few seconds, then cleared his throat against his fist. I could invite you to breakfast. You just told me off for having it this late! No! What? I said, I wanted to invite you for breakfast. You saw Salazar's nervous posture and the obvious blush on his cheeks. You tilted your head, curious. No. Like a date? Salazar coughed into his hand, but quickly recovered. I wouldn't want you to misunderstand, but... yeah, I guess so. I'm inviting you on a date. You stood in silence for a moment, considering the proposal. No! You always had the option to flirt with people you met, but that didn't mean you were serious. It was fun to see other people's reactions to your teasing, and maybe there was a little hope that it would lead somewhere. And now you had the option to go further. No! I can't! You're too weird for me! Disappointment reflected in Salazar's expression. Oh, do you have someone else? It's not that. I have things to do today, but we could go on another day, okay? Salazar's grimace didn't seem to change at your words, but with your expectant silence, Salazar smiled faintly. I understand. Another day it is. At least let me walk you back with your groceries. You pondered his words for a moment. Definitely. It wouldn't hurt to have him accompany you. It would feel safe, in fact. Sure. You led the way, and you walked in silence all the way. You arrived at the entrance of your building, and seeing that Salazar had no intention of leaving you there, you continued guiding him until you stopped at your apartment door. Here we are. Salazar remained looking at the door for a few seconds, then smiled faintly as he extended the bag he was carrying towards you. It was a pleasure seeing you, Lion. Likewise, Paul. Salazar's smile widened, regaining some of the energy he had lost from your rejection. You can call me whenever you want. I'll keep that in mind. Salazar headed for the exit, but not before turning back for a moment to wave goodbye to you. You returned his wave and stayed in the hallway until you no longer saw him. You sighed softly, returning to the reality of your situation. Right, you need to be careful. You unlocked every lock and entered your apartment, locking it again. You also made sure to hide the spare keys inside your apartment. You left your groceries in the kitchen and put everything away, then thought about what you would have for breakfast. You started the coffee maker with the new coffee you bought and put 2 slices of bread into the toaster. You hadn't realized how late it was when Salazar pointed it out for you. You must have been very tired to have slept almost 10 hours after Jeff entered your apartment in the early morning. You peered out the window again. The patrol car was still there. You didn't know if it was the same one or a different one, but at least you had protection. Right? What a joke. With your coffee ready and your toast, you sat at the small table you called your dining table. You were halfway through a bite when you heard a knock at the door. You quietly looked at the door in silence. Lion, it's me. Don't you have work? You relaxed when you realized it was Cindy. Wow, you're quite popular today. The hell you want? You went and opened the door, making space for her to enter. Cindy quickly came in. What brings you here? It wasn't a surprise that she knew where you lived, as it wasn't the first time she had visited. Since she and her father, your boss, were the only two people you knew in the city, if something unexpected happened, like a bounced check or some mishap at the store, they would personally notify you at your apartment. Did they catch the guy? You shrugged. Nope. You need to take this seriously. Even if they've arranged protection for you, it's not 100% safe to rely on that. So you saw the patrol car outside. Cindy brought a hand to her forehead. Yeah, there were also many journalists at the store. It leaked that you worked there, so I had to close temporarily. Oh. I'm sorry. I wasn't there! What the hell were they doing there? Cindy sighed, taking a seat on the sofa. None of this is your fault, Lion. I should have accompanied you that day. You joined her, sitting next to her. I mean, that's completely out of what we usually do, though. Don't say that. You had no way of knowing. Cindy cleared her throat, changing the subject. So, do you know details about your case? Well, it seems they know who he is. Cindy's interest was piqued. Really? Who? A guy with a body count of 27. Victims. Cindy looked at you expectantly, ignoring your joke. It seemed she hadn't seen the news. Of course. When would she have time, having to deal with chasing away invasive journalists? It seems I'm the first victim he left alive. Cindy let out a gasp. Just what we needed. A serial killer fixated on you. She wasn't wrong, and it wasn't the first time. They didn't say he was a serial killer. If he's murdered more than 3 people and has been doing it for years, he falls into the category of serial killer. Okay. Did you see if he felt pleasure attacking you? Oh yeah, definitely. I could feel it. It was right up against my leg. I could feel all of his excitement. You remembered how he insisted you admit you were afraid, even wanting to know details. Maybe you should have kept that to yourself. Cindy put her fingers to her chin, thoughtfully murmuring to herself. Then he would fall into category 2. What the hell are you talking about? Yeah? Can I ask you something, without you getting angry? Okay. How do you know so many police terms? Cindy froze, looked at you in surprise. Let me guess. True crime. Then she sighed heavily. I never wanted to be a clerk in my dad's store. Yeah, nobody wants to be. Cindy gave you a reproving look at your sarcastic comment, but continued. I studied criminology for 4 years, and then I entered the police academy. Wow, you didn't expect that. Cindy didn't give the impression of wanting to be anything in life, much less a cop. As long as I can remember, I wanted to be a detective, and I worked hard to graduate with honors. But when I entered the academy, my dad's store was robbed. They caught the culprits, but since one of them was a lieutenant's nephew, they let them go free. The system boasts of being a fair network, but it has way too many loopholes. I dropped out the academy, and I've been working for Dad ever since. Wow, who would have thought? Cindy grumbled through clenched teeth. Don't be condescending with me. Nah, not at all. It just caught my attention is all. That explains why you were so harsh with Lieutenant West and Detective Sean. Cindy snorted, looking away. Do you think they're doing a good job? Fuck no! Well, I don't know what they're doing right now, but I have a feeling they're trying? Cindy lowered her gaze, dispirited. I hope the system doesn't fail you like it's failed me, Lion. I'm pretty sure it has. I think that's the second nicest thing you've ever said to me. Cindy raised an eyebrow. What was the first? That you feel peaceful with me? Yeah, well, I still think that. You two fell silent for a moment until you broke it. Well, I'm glad we're getting along, Sin. Like, I think I prefer you over the doctor, but still not above Jeff. She smiled faintly. Me too. Well, time for me to go. So soon? I just came to check on you. From what I see, you're fine. But Cindy turned to you, questioning. What is it? Nah, you couldn't tell her about Jeff's game. Nah, nothing. Just go home. Cindy looked at you for a couple of seconds in silence and left. I know it says go home safely, and I didn't mean to actually read that, but I don't know why. Go home was the first thing that came out of my mouth. Oh God, she's gone! Saying that you were on your own, you sighed heavily. You spent the rest of the day in your apartment. You felt like it was going to be a quiet night. But when night came, you changed your mind. Jeff said that every time you evaded him, he would go away, so technically you should be safe tonight. But on the other hand, it was Jeff you were talking about. The guy is a cowardly, cheating maniac. You can't trust his words. So you decided to go out. Where? Didn't matter. You just went somewhere with a large crowd, where it would be impossible to attack you. So you arrived at a street full of bars. Lights painted the streets with colors, and music gently escaped from the venues. You shrugged and picked a bar to enter. The place was quiet and had a considerable number of people. Perfect! You didn't want to go to a half-empty place. It would be like a deer going to a meadow. But not a crowded place either. That's the last thing you needed in your paranoid state. So you sat at the bar and prepared to order. Beer. You sat, waiting patiently for your order. And that's when you felt someone take the seat next to you. Oh, again? Seriously? What? I can go wherever I want. This is a public place. And don't you think if I just scream, I can get you arrested? Jeff looked at you over his shoulder, disinterested in your threat. Sure, you can do that. And by the time the cops come, I can rip out your other eye and run away again. You're a coward. I'm many things. The bartender approached, and Jeff gestured to him to take an order. Whiskey. Neat. Oh? Old school or just showing off? Who am I showing off to? You? Why is the music oddly sultry? Are we about to... Is this where we start smashing our dirty bits together? I tease. You seem to try very hard to get my attention. I don't. Shut up. I'm the first person you've left alive. I guess that makes me at least relevant to you. Your words seem to catch his attention. Don't flatter yourself. You're not the first. Oh? The bartender arrived with your order and his. Jeff wrapped his finger around the glass and pulled his bandana down slightly. You could see a bit of his profile. It was strange to see him so calm. It was a beginner's mistake. The girl was nice to me and she suffered the same as me, so I felt sorry for her. Jeff took a sip, then swirled the drink in his glass. I don't know if she's still alive, but last I saw her, she wanted to kill me, so I don't care anymore. Wow, you being compassionate. That's new. And what did you two suffer from, if I may ask? He pointed to his own face with his index finger. The burns. Can I ask how it happened? Was an accident. I spilled acid on myself. I thought it was bleach. Empathy? Nope! Wrong choice. Mock him. Accidentally. Do you mean you spilled it or threw it on yourself? Bit of both. Wow, wow. Jeff snorted. He seemed annoyed, but you sensed the amusement in his voice. Okay, so he likes it when I flirt and when I am just being an absolute dick to him. Got it. No, shut up. You're not one to judge. What's that supposed to mean? You figure it out. Jeff took another sip of his whiskey. Anyway, why did you come here? I thought you wanted to keep this between us. Relax. I won't hurt you. I'll keep my promise. For now, right? You rolled your eyes and drank your own drink. You both sat in silence for a while, listening to the bar's music and the chatter of other people. I'm a yap about my day. So I went shopping today. I guess he doesn't like that. Ask about his day. What? Man, bro's a narcissist. So, what did you do today? Jeff turned to you in surprise. I didn't do much. He turned his gaze back to the front. Went shopping. I walked the streets. Rested a little. And, came to this bar. As you listened intently, you saw the corner of Jeff's mouth curl into a mocking smile, and you realized. It was just you following me! You glared at him, but far from being annoyed, Jeff seemed to enjoy causing that reaction in you. You took a sip of your drink, and he did the same. Every time he finished drinking, he pulled his bandana up again, covering his face. You both paused, a moment to calm the previous emotion. Is this where we bang? Are you really not going to do anything to me tonight? Jeff rested his cheek on his hand, bored. Why? Now you're afraid of me? It's not that. I just wouldn't appreciate going back to the hospital so soon after leaving. Jeff clicked his tongue. Don't worry. Just enjoy that I'm not gutting you where you are. Okay, that is not reassuring. Jeff sighed, turning to you. His eyes, sky blue, milky like a cloudy day, stared fixedly at you. I promise, I won't do anything. Flirt. Couldn't you be this cute most of the time? It's a waste of time to act crazy all the time. You thought Jeff made a gesture of raising an eyebrow because he doesn't have eyebrows, duh! And what about being a killer? Yeah, that too. Jeff returned to his spot in silence, as if he hadn't expected your answer. You couldn't see it clearly, but you could swear that beneath his dark eyelids, you could see a distinct pink tone different from the sores on his skin. You both fell silent again. This time you felt calmer, as if you had shaken off the previous awkwardness. Why are you doing this anyway? Jeff looked at you, questioningly. I don't know what you're thinking. I don't know if you hate me or like me. I don't know if you want to kill me or observe me. I know either. Clearly. I lose control when it comes to you. Jeff lets out a dry chuckle. I was always good at improvising, but since I met you, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Inquire. You were always good at killing people. What's different now? You're an enigma. I thought I understood all of humanity. That's why I hated it. But with you, it's like I want to find out more. You caught my attention, and I'm sure of that. He slowly brought his hand towards you. You didn't move. You didn't know if it was out of fear of what he would do, or if you wanted him to touch you. Jeff's fingers wrapped around your neck and squeezed gently. It wasn't choking you, but his grip was firm. I'm still thinking about what to do with you once I get bored of our game. He pulled you closer, his breath grazing your face as he spoke softly. Because I get bored easily. Ma, 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 moan. I moan. Jeff's eyes widen, letting you go as if you were contagious. He stared at you in astonishment for a couple of seconds, then stammered. I fell for that again! He grunted under his breath and continued drinking his whiskey. Hey, so, what's the plan? Huh? Are we going to chat like friends, even though you ripped out my eye and are stalking me? Jeff snorted a laugh, raising his glass. I'll drink to that. Toast. Whatever you say. You raised your drink and clinked it against his glass in a small toast. He stared at you in silence, thoughtfully. You're a very strange person. Do you like that? Jeff chuckled softly. We'll see. Thanks for leaving me alone tonight. Your standards are very low, aren't they? Well, actually, for this game in particular, they're quite high. Like, I legit hated the doctor. Hey, I said thanks, not that you magically became decent just because you did one good thing for me. This isn't a dark romance. Perhaps. Jeff raised his hands in surrender, his posture unconcerned. I'm in a good mood. That's all I can say. Does it have anything to do with me rejecting the date with Paul? Think what you want. You smiled faintly and drank your drink. You both fell silent, listening to the bar music. Jazz was relaxing and strangely, you didn't feel bad. It was incredible how you could go from fearing he'd find you in your hiding place and in another moment, it seems you two are having a, Oh? Was this your idea or did this seem like a date? Dating the guy who ripped out your eye and threatened to kill you. Maybe it is a dark romance after all. Are you jealous? What's that got to do with anything? I couldn't help but notice that you really hated it when someone was nice to me. Are you the jealous type? You're playing with fire, Lion. Mock. Why? Because it's senseless to provoke a serial killer who has me in his sights? Maybe you weren't mentally well enough to mess with someone so dangerous, but you definitely had enough common sense to recognize how screwed up the situation was. I see you understand what I mean. Don't get too comfortable. I'll come back for you tomorrow. Oh, right. Sure. You're stalking me. For a moment I forgot. Spending time with you as a normal person wasn't so bad. I could even call it a date. You were just talking, but you could see that your words created a reaction in Jeff. Do you think someone like me can experience normal things? Like a date? Yeah, I guess. Sure. He stood silently for a second, then placed the empty glass on the bar and rose from his seat. You followed his movement, turning from your stool. Good night, and good luck tomorrow. Jeff made a gesture to approach, raising his hand towards you. You saw he wasn't pulling out the knife, so you leaned towards him. I kiss? Kiss? Why would I not kiss? You held his hand in yours, but you pulled him closer and rested your cheek against the side of his face, covered by the bandana. See you later, Jeff. You whispered softly, close to his ear. He didn't respond. In fact, you felt a spasm in his hand. Jeff slowly retreated, hiding his eyes behind his bangs and hood. Oh, he's a bottom! You watched him disappear through the bar door, and then you realized there was something in your hand. It was a crumpled piece of paper, and when you smoothed it out, you saw it was a bill. Stained with blood. So he did have money to pay after all! Anyway, you couldn't use that bill. They look at you with suspicion. You decided to stay a little longer, reflecting on everything that just happened. Now you knew for sure that nothing bad would happen tonight. But you had to be careful. Tomorrow, the game would resume. Day 5. How exactly are we going to survive this day? You woke up as usual in the safety of your room, the only difference being that you couldn't stop thinking about what happened last night. You still had the blood-stained bill Jeff gave you. He surely gave it to you knowing you couldn't spend it. He did it on purpose. It was strange. From your own experience, you knew he behaved erratically. Of course, somehow you managed to interact with him in dangerous moments where your life was at stake. But that didn't mean it wasn't incredible that Jeff, as unpredictable as he was, had established some sort of relationship with you. You could admit there were times when his company, when he wasn't trying to bury a knife in your guts, wasn't so unpleasant. It was as if Jeff had two sides. One was the deranged killer, and the other was an arrogant guy who never grew out of his edgy phase. Oh no. Was this the Stockholm Syndrome? Another box checked on the visual novel bingo card. Anyway, today you had to be more on guard. Jeff would return, and he already knew the layout of your apartment, so you were at a disadvantage. Maybe you'd have a better chance if you went to a hotel tonight. He'd most likely track you down, but the chances of him attacking you would decrease greatly. It sounded like a strategy, frequently changing your location. Suddenly, your doorbell rang in the middle of your reflection. It couldn't be Jeff, right? He's not the kind of guy who rings doorbells. How funny would it be if it was him? I'm gonna open it. You walk to the door, still in your pajamas, and peer through the peephole in silence. You immediately recognize Dr. Salazar's brown hair. Why are you stalking me? You unlocked the door and opened it, letting him in. What are you doing here? Salazar fiddled nervously with his hands. I'm sorry, I couldn't help but worry. Huh? Some detectives contacted me. They asked about your eye. Okay. Lion, I don't have it. Excuse me? According to the report, when you were transferred to the hospital, they recovered your eye. Why would they pick up a useless eye? Salazar cleared his throat. It's protocol. Both police and medical. Everything found at the scene must be kept. Okay, I understand that, but what do you mean you don't have it? That's the strange thing. Your eye is registered at the hospital, but when I went to check, it wasn't there. You could guess who might have taken it. I think your attacker is obsessed with you. Have you felt like you've been followed lately? Yes, by you! Oh, the sweet and naive doctor has no idea. You simply shrugged. I guess so. I have reasons to think he'll come for you. Wow, this doctor was doing a lot more than just operating on you, apparently. He was offering to be your shining armored prince. So, does that mean you're here for me? Are you here to take care of me, Paul? No, not Paul. Dr. Salazar. Don't you think that's favoritism for one patient among many? Salazar's lower lip began to tremble slightly, surprising you. Calm down, it's not that big of a deal. I don't understand it either. Get out of my apartment! You had a sense of deja vu, as someone else had told you something similar. You're incredible. What the fuck do you mean? I've never had a patient like you. Ever since you woke up and we talked, you've given me tachycardia, sweating, confusion. Jeff, please, off this dude right now! It seemed like you were making him feel sick with so much medical jargon. But you got the idea. Is this what they call love at first sight? Okay, you were in a complicated situation. Nope, it's not complicated at all. Kick him out. In fact, if he won't leave, kick him in the nuts. Not every day does your doctor come to your apartment and confess his love for you. But you already gone through too many unusual things to be surprised. Paul, Before he could answer, there was a knock at the door. What are the chances? It's me! You turned to Salazar with a twisted smile. Excuse me, I have to get that. Lion. Suddenly, he gripped your hand firmly, which confused you. His usually calm eyes gleamed with desperation. Get the fuck off me! You didn't know what to think. The knocking at the door grew more insistent. I'm calling the police if I don't get an answer in one. You broke free from Salazar's grip and rushed to open the door. I'm coming! Jeez! I'm in something here! Cindy looked at you seriously from the moment you opened the door. She entered with a pile of papers in her arms. This is urgent. We have... What the fuck? Cindy stopped in the middle of the living room, looking confused at Salazar, who remained leaning against the wall with his arms crossed. What's he doing here? He came to see me. She raised an eyebrow at you. What for? No, we are not going to. Why are you minimizing just how fucking weird the doctor is being? Salazar averted his gaze uncomfortably. Florence Nightingale syndrome? Salazar blushed. That's... What's that? When the caregiver falls in love with the patient? Oh, so it is. Lion! Salazar protested, his cheeks still flushed. You shrugged nonchalantly. You came on your own? You know what? You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if he actually came on his own. I thought it would just be us two. This is so fucking weird. Get him out. Why is he still following us? Cindy walked into the kitchen and put the pile of papers on your table, glancing sideways at Salazar. Right. What did you come for? I found out some things about the weirdo from the store. You sat down, looking at the papers with curiosity. They ranged from printed news articles from websites, newspaper pages with highlighted paragraphs, photos of people, and reports. Where did you get all this? I have my ways. Cindy sat next to you, pointing at the papers. This guy, Jeff, is involved in many murders and also arsons. Arson? He's been a fugitive for at least 15 years. He doesn't have a specific victim profile that range from street drunks to suburban families. He follows the same modus operandi. He stabs his victim in vital spots and cuts their mouth with a kitchen knife. The worst weapon, if you ask me. You rolled your eyes at her comment. Continue, please. Cindy frowned, spreading the papers to see them all together. The strange thing is that he's never been caught. The guy is very careless. He wears white clothes, easy to stain, has long hair, doesn't care about leaving DNA, doesn't wear gloves, leaves his fingerprints everywhere. They're looking for him in several regions, and he's never been arrested. He has no address, no family, and his past and who he used to be are not even known. What strikes me is that, for a simple guy, his level of convenience surpasses normal. He manages to escape fires, avoid security cameras, even knows how to climb walls. It's like he has the script on his side. Script? What are you talking about? I don't mean it literally. It's like the universe is on his side. Okay. Well, that was close. We don't need another character with narrative self-awareness. But now that Cindy mentioned it, it's true. They supposedly gave his physical description on the news, and yet he manages to follow you during the day, or go to a bar at night. It was as if he was invisible to others. No plot twist that he's actually part of your imagination or that he's a ghost. Jeff is just very elusive. All the more reason you need to be careful, Lion. He'll come back for you. He already did. He's gonna do it again, but you can't say that out loud. What are you talking about? I think he's obsessed with Lion. Oh! Kettle calling the pot black! Cindy looked at you seriously. If that's the case, you can't stay here. At least not on your own. So, what's the idea? Do you plan to stay with me 24/7? Oh no, you are! It's not the most elegant solution, but I'll make sure you're okay. I can protect you. Suddenly, Cindy and Salazar looked at each other in silence. I'll stay with Lion. I'm their co-worker. We've known each other longer. I'm their doctor. I have a duty to look after their well-being. Could you get the fuck out of here? You have been on my tail for the last 2 days. Don't you have a job? What you're doing, coming to the house, is totally unprofessional for a doctor. You could say you're stalking Lion, but wait, how did you know where they lived? Did you see it in their file? We met yesterday. It was pure coincidence. I even say it was fate. Cindy snorted an ironic laugh. Are you going to talk about fate? Seriously? Guys, can we just relax for a moment? They both fell silent and looked at you. You looked at them with boredom. Are you going to let me bathe? I'm still in my pajamas. Suddenly, both looked away. Their cheeks flushed. Don't tell me you both wanted to watch me naked! Oh, sure. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You retreated from the kitchen and went to the bathroom. You didn't expect so many visitors, nor that they would come to your rescue. It almost seemed like I put on pheromone perfume or something, attracting so many people. In the end, they decided to stay with you during the day. The plan to go to a hotel had fallen through, as it could be said you were trapped inside your apartment. If you showed any interest in leaving, Cindy and Salazar would jump up and follow you like baby ducks to their mother. So you couldn't afford to go to a hotel with 2 other people, plus you wouldn't want to owe them if they offered to pay. Being watched was becoming tiresome. Until night fell. With every minute, your nerves rose, because the darker it got, the greater the possibility that Jeff would arrive. Could you both leave? It's getting late. Cindy, you should go home soon. Me? What about you? Don't you have a job to go to at the hospital? My shift starts tomorrow. Yeah, well, I know Lion better. If anyone should stay tonight, it should be me. What's safer than a doctor? Clearly not you! Cindy and Salazar glared at each other while you waited. I don't want both of you here tonight. Having you all day was enough. Then you decide. What? Either we both stay or one, but not none. To corner you, they knew how to work as a team, didn't they? Oh, man! I hate the... No! What if I did... Oh my god, I'm so cooked! Wait. If I have Salazar here, I could get Jeff to off him. That's a good idea. Ooh, decisions. Yes, die! I choose the doctor. Salazar smiled triumphantly. Seriously? You shrugged. The chance to spend the night with a handsome doctor. No! Cindy! I choose Cindy. She smiles with satisfaction, and he sighs in disappointment. Okay, I understand. You'd rather spend the night with someone you know better and someone who went to the police academy. That inspires confidence. I don't want to see her get offed. Salazar heads for the door. You follow him to open it and say goodbye. Thanks for coming. Really. Guess I really needed to feel cared for. Salazar looks at you out the corner of his eye and smiles slightly. I'll always be there for you. Please get the fuck out! He gently struck. No, don't touch me! I didn't. Why? Salazar disappears behind the door and you are left with Cindy. Do you want dinner? Sure. Would you rather cook or order something? I know a good Chinese takeout restaurant near here. You nod. Okay. She takes out a phone, and the ornaments hanging on it jingle with every movement. Any allergies? Anything you don't eat? Nothing to report. Cindy nods and places the order. While you wait on the couch, you remain silent. Chat. So, police? Honestly, I didn't expect it. Yeah, I know. I excelled academically, but I was physically weak. Even if joint locks rely on leverage, you still need some strength. Strength that I don't have. You spend the next few minutes waiting for your order, and when it arrives, you serve it in the kitchen. Cindy eats slowly, picking at her food. She seems to be thinking about something else. I ask, "What's on your mind?" Cindy looks back at you, then rests her cheek on her hand. "Maybe it's not such a good idea to stay here." "You think?" "Why?" "The crazy guy may know where you live by now. Staying may be too dangerous." "Yeah! My plan was to leave, but both of you wouldn't leave me alone!" Cindy was really perceptive, wasn't she? She seems to be the character with the most common sense. But that's not the point. Jeff is a coward. He only attacked you when no one was around. Besides, the game is between you. He doesn't have to involve Cindy. So everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be fine. You say it out loud, not only to reassure yourself, but also Cindy. She gives you a faint, reluctant smile, but ends up sighing in defeat. You win. Let's have some small talk. How were you feeling about work? Before all this? I think it was fine. I'm sorry, but I'll have to be away for a while. I don't blame you. We're temporarily closed anyway. I don't know about you, but I can live without movies. I couldn't. I love them. Anyway, my last memory of there is not very pleasant. I still had both eyes. Cindy grimaces in discomfort, trying to look away from your eye patch, failing. Seeing the empty plates, you make a move to get up, but Cindy stops you with a gesture of her hand. Don't overexert yourself. Get ready for bed. You raise your hands in defeat. Whatever you say. You watch as she gets up with the used dishes, utensils, and glasses and goes to the dishwasher, starting to maneuver with the water and detergent. You stay close, admiring the shape of her small back and her moving arms. Why am I admiring her arms? So, I only have one bed. I have a couch! Cindy pauses for a second, letting the water run. Okay. I'm gonna be indifferent. If you want, we can make a pillow wall. Cindy nods and goes back to her business. You head to the bathroom, where you shower and put on your night clothes. For a moment, you stop in front of the mirror. You're a little nervous about spending the night with Cindy. You'd never seen her that way before, but now you couldn't help thinking you were kind of lucky to be spending the night with a cute girl. I feel like I'm hitting a death flag here. Of course, nothing will happen. She's not even your friend, technically. Or you could say she is? With that in mind, you leave the bathroom and return to the kitchen to look for Cindy. The bathroom is free if you want to use it. She had been here before, so she knows where everything was. Okay. You nod silently and head back the way you came, this time heading to your room. You took a place on the bed, making sure to leave Cindy some space. You heard from your spot the lights going off, turning on, and the water running. A few moments later, Cindy enters the room. Silently, she slips under the sheets next to you. Hi? You smell the scent of her perfume. It's sweet. You can see that her eyes are shining, even in the dim light. Why do you care so much about me? What changed? Unexpectedly, you feel her hand brush against your cheek, gently caressing it with her thumb. Why? I realized you were important to me. Can I just go back and just not open the door? Is that I have free will. She laughed slightly. It's weird. I feel like I know you, but I can't think of a specific time I spent with you. But still, I care about you. Your heart races at her words, feeling the air between you two turn warm. Good night. Rest well. Please don't look at me like that. You close your eyes, concentrating on your breathing, and hers to fall asleep. Soon you succeeded. You weren't sure if you were dreaming when you thought you heard a noise, but when you reached out to Cindy, you realized she wasn't in bed. You got up and quietly left your room. You heard nothing, but that didn't calm you. You immediately reached the living room, where you witnessed the worst-case scenario. I knew it! Hi, Jeff. Jeff had Cindy by the neck, covering her mouth and pointing the tip of his knife at her waist. When did Jeff get in? When did Cindy get up and confront him? That must have made noise, but you have no idea. It seems Jeff was very good at what he did. Lion, I said I'd be back. Yeah, I can see that. I advise you to be careful what you say. Someone could get hurt. Jeff brought the knife closer to Cindy's skin. Seriously? They're looking for you for attacking me, and now you're going to hurt another person? Could you think a little, Jeff? That means more cops are looking for your head. So, you won't mind if I do this, will you? Jeff made a cut on Cindy's side as she lets out a muffled groan against his hand as the blade cut her skin. What? Wait, this is between us two, remember? You shouldn't involve her. You should involve the doctor. Well, she's cooked. Jeff slowly buries the tip of the knife in Cindy's side. She let out a scream that was quickly muffled by Jeff's hand. You watch as the two struggle until Jeff pulls the knife away and Cindy falls to the ground. Lion, run! Oh, don't bother, darling. Jeff stretched a mocking smile. There's a new jurisdiction. Jeff ignores Cindy's body and walks towards you, his milky eyes shining in the dim light. You manage to run. Maybe you lock yourself in the bathroom or your room. But your wrist is held by Jeff, preventing you from moving. It's funny. I don't want to hurt you. Not like before, at least. Why would that be? You like me? Maybe it's because you like me. What? You know, you're interested in me? You have a crush on me? You just said the first thing that came to mind, hoping he would stop. I see. Jeff leans towards you, his smile stretched more than usual, and his wide eyes fixed on you. I want you. You. Jeff lets out a shrill laugh. You don't know whether to smile or be horrified. Now that explains a lot. The grip on your hand tightens, and he pulls you closer. Wait, what are you doing? I've already discovered what I want. I don't want to play with you anymore. Part of you felt relieved at his words, but when Jeff pulled you towards him, causing you to crash into his chest, you felt cold. I want to have you for myself. Then you realize he's leading you to the exit. In an instant, you saw Cindy's body still motionless on the ground, and a pang of worry went through you. Wait, what about? Oh, don't think about her. Your cheeks are cupped in two large, cold hands, and you feel something wet splash against your skin. No! Jeff came! He came! By the smell, you can tell it's come. Jeff's bangs brush against your forehead, and all you can see are his eyes. Just focus on me. You've seen what he's capable of. He didn't just hurt you. He's hurt everyone. That means you consider his words deeply. Oh, no. The sensation beneath your body was hard and raw. Why was it hard? The mattress was evidently very old and of poor quality. Even though you had woken up, you kept your eye closed, reflecting on what had happened to bring you to where you were. Jeff had dragged you, forcing you to run with him. The cold of dawn entered your lungs while the streetlights illuminated your path. You traveled many streets. You didn't know how far he was taking you. At your request, you occasionally asked him to stop to rest. Jeff agreed, and while you caught your breath, he watched the surroundings. As soon as you felt better, he took your wrist and dragged you again. Finally, you arrived at a dilapidated neighborhood, full of trash, encampments, and houses in poor condition. Jeff's house was no exception. You remembered him saying it was where he was staying for the moment, as he invited you into a small, run-down house. Since it was night and he didn't want to turn on the lights, assuming there was electricity, you couldn't see the interior well. But from the smell of dampness and dust, plus the crunch under your feet, you would assume the place was not in good condition. Fortunately, Jeff offered the bed specifically for you, saying he had things to do. Are you still pretending to be asleep? You cursed internally at Jeff's voice. What the fuck? You opened your eyes and found something you didn't expect to be the first thing you'd see that day. Good morning. Jeff was leaning on the edge of the bed, inches from you. He stared at you fixedly, tracing every inch of your face. Morning? It was strange to be with Jeff and for him not to intend to hurt you. Sure, the bar thing happened, but you were still on guard because of what he did last night. It was also curious to see him without his usual white hoodie. Seeing his bare arms and the silhouette of Jeff's waist felt like seeing a Victorian woman's ankles. Jeff nodded slightly at your greeting, maintaining his smile. No need for such caution. I don't want to kill you anymore. Well, that sounded reassuring. But this was Jeff we're talking about. The guy was anything but trustworthy. Be positive? Really? Suspect? I don't believe you. Jeff chuckled, touching the tip of your nose with his index finger. Let's go have breakfast. He avoided you, didn't he? He stood up and remained standing by the bed, looking at you expectantly. Actually, you know what? Not a bad place. I mean, it's dusty and there's trash everywhere, but with a bit of elbow grease, I wouldn't mind calling this place home. He slowly stood up, and you found yourself in a very large but quite dilapidated room. There was no furniture besides the bed, but at least the window wasn't broken. Then you realized you were only in your sleepwear and barefoot. Did you really run through several streets without stepping on a nail or a piece of glass? Lucky you didn't get tetanus. I don't have shoes. Jeff looked away thoughtfully. Wait. Jeff disappeared through the door, and you heard movement from the other side of the room. Soon Jeff reappeared with 2 slippers, each of a different size. Wait, where? That's what I found handy. Then we'll look for clothes for you. You accepted the slippers with resignation. They weren't torn or dirty, just a bit dusty. They were mismatched sizes. One fit you well, and the other was loose, but it was better than walking on tetanus. Thanks. Jeff smiled broadly at your gratitude. You could even see a blush creep up his face. Come. Jeff took your wrist. His grip firm, but it did hurt. He pulled you along, but unlike other times, it was gentle and calm. He led you through the house to what could be a dining area with a table and 2 chairs. There was a mini fridge and a kitchen in the adjacent room, but you doubted they worked. I brought breakfast. Skim milk latte. He extended a paper cup to you and you took it. It was warm. How? Did I know your preference? His smile turned into mocking. Oh, come on. You're smart. Of course. It was because he's been following you for days. He surely found out about those things by watching you. Oh, don't think I forgot about the edible stuff. I got you a sandwich. Okay, I'll get to the point. Are you trying to be an attentive boyfriend or something? Jeff tilted his head interrogatively. What are you talking about? You ripped out my eye, you snuck into my hospital room, you broke into my house. Do you want me to forget about all that? How am I supposed to believe you love me if you put me through hell? Jeff looked at you with curiosity, then headed to the mini fridge. I don't want you to forget what I did. He mumbled softly, pulling a jar from the mini fridge. Just see it from a different perspective. What the hell? He placed a jar in front of you. Inside, there was a thick, transparent liquid, yellowish. Inside, at the bottom, you saw a dark red stain mixed with black. Then he turned it. Oh, my eyeball. You felt cold. Your eye is so pretty. Couldn't help but keep it. Jeff came towards you, holding your cheeks between his hands. Which ones? But now, I've got something better. You. He caressed your skin with his thumb, lowering his eyes to your lips. What we have is special, and I'll make sure you see it too. You felt a shiver run through you. You came to the conclusion that you had no escape. Physically, it was almost impossible to escape Jeff, even if you tried. By the way he expressed himself, you didn't think he would hesitate to chain you to his side or cut off your legs so you wouldn't run. You couldn't ask for help either. Jeff would kill anyone who approached you. You knew that from experience. That makes sense. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. What, am I supposed to just say he's insane? Apparently I am! You're crazy! Jeff let out a strident laugh, lowering his hands to your shoulders. Completely. Okay. I'll eat your stupid breakfast. Jeff smiled proudly, leaning towards you. For a moment, you thought he was going to kiss you, so you closed your eyes, but then you felt a light touch on your forehead. Jeff kissed your forehead for a few seconds, then released you and sat at the table. You followed his example and sat down. In silence, you drank the latte and ate the snack he brought you. Where did you get this? Don't you think I know about food chains? There's a coffee shop branch a few blocks from here. Did you have breakfast? Jeff blushed slightly, smiling affectionately. Yeah, hours ago. I'm sorry I didn't join you, but our schedules are different. Should we have dinner together? What if you join me for dinner? Well, I'd love that. You heard him sigh softly. Wait, did you pay for this with money? Jeff tilted his head, as if raising an eyebrow he didn't have. How else could I have gotten it? I don't know, armed robbery? I'm not that careless. They're already looking for me for murder and arson. I'm not adding robbery to that list. And where do you get the money? Well, it would be a waste not to keep the money from some of the people I kill. The way he calmly admitted to killing people was chilling. Jeez, you're pathetic. It's not enough for you to kill people, you robbed them too. Hey, at least those murders aren't attributed to me. They're outside my modus operandi, and they're considered robbery. That's no reason to be proud, Jeff! Nothing you say is a reason to be proud! You're adorable when you judge me. Oh, I can tell! Oh no, he's completely fallen. But you couldn't let your guard down, nor take advantage of it. However foolishly in love he may seem, he was still a maniac who, from what you'd recently learned, was more calculating than he appeared. Have you ever been in love before? I think once, if you can call it that. Oh? With whom? A woman I spent 3 nights with. Oh, gross. Not that way. It was intimate in another way. We talked all the time. I felt like she understood me. What about you? Have you ever been in love before? Yeah. But that's in the past, right? Right, he's the jealous type. Obviously. So what's your preference, you? Man, woman, both? Bad, both. Looks like I've got double the competition. I assure you, I don't usually lose. The more I know about you, the more I like you. Can I know more about you too? Of course. Do you have family? Obviously. I had one in the beginning. Mother, a father, a brother. But I lost them. How? You're smart. I'm sure you know the answer. Do you have friends? There was a time when I lived with some guys. It was a big house. There were quite a few of us. Each had their peculiarities. But they're the closest thing I can call friends. Huh. Sound weird? They were. The owner of the house was expressionless. Wait a minute! One of them was a cannibal. I think you can call him that. Another spent his time playing video games. One dressed as a clown, and a couple spent their time filming. So yeah, they were weird. How old are you? I'm not gonna tell you that. Oh, come on! At least give me a range. How old are you? Well, late 20s. Alright, I'm older than you. You really are not gonna tell me how much? Jeff grumbled. So older, huh? Oh, shut up! Mock him. To be so old, you look good. Jeff snorted. Are you happy with everything you've asked? It depends. I have one more question. Why do you kill? Jeff looked away, thoughtfully. At this point, it's like asking a bird why it flies. It's what I am. But it started with something, didn't it? What happened? Jeff shrugged. I was a kid when I started. The world was meaningless and I hated people in general. I wanted to make the world a beautiful place. And it was like that for years. It's fucked up. Don't even tell me. No wonder you're so messed in the head. Flattery, love. But when I met you, I started to feel things I thought I had forgotten. The words wanted to escape your mouth. Would you consider stopping killing? For me. It was late. You said it. Again, you weren't a saint, wanting to give a moral lesson to an obviously immoral person, but it was a question asked out of genuine curiosity. It wasn't a request, you just wanted to know. And fortunately, Jeff didn't seem to take it badly. We could reach a compromise. Just in case. You couldn't help but feel your heart race. Okay, you had to admit that until now you doubted Jeff was really in love with you. But if this madman said he might consider changing just for you, it was impossible not to be moved, even a little. Okay, I'm gonna be so for real. I'm not looking at Jeff and thinking, like, I want to fix him. No, like, he's fucked, and I dig that. But, like, this is definitely, like scratching the itch for a bunch of people who are like, I can't fix him. But no, he perfect. That's very sweet. Thank you. It was better to be on his good side anyway. Who knew what would happen if you treated him badly or broke his heart? Something told you he was very vindictive. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. Who? Jeff grew serious and went to the window, peering out slightly. It's a cop. Did you forget to pay rent? Jeff bit his fingertips, thoughtful. I don't pay rent. You're a squatter. Stop joking! The knocking at the door became insistent. You answer it. What? I'm being looked for. They can't see me. You'll have to talk to him. But I trust you. Without waiting for an answer, Jeff disappeared into the house. You shifted uncomfortably, heading for the door. Everything's going to be fine, Lion. You've lied to the police before. It'll be a piece of cake. You opened the door, and in front of you stood a uniformed police officer. Morning. Sorry to bother you so early. It's okay. We're monitoring the area. It's just routine. Have you witnessed any unusual activity lately? Well, you're the unusual activity. Lie. Nah. Haven't seen anything. Alright. Try to be careful. This neighborhood is dangerous. You probably noticed you weren't exactly from around here. Close all your windows and doors tightly. The police officer made a gesture with his cap. I apologize again for the inconvenience. You saw the police officer leave, and when you no longer saw him, you closed the door. You sighed heavily and turned towards the direction Jeff had gone. Jeff! You can come out now! You received no answer, so you took a few steps forward. From the darkness, Jeff ran towards you and embraced you tightly. Lion! He wrapped you in a tight hug, even leaning to one side to lift you a few inches off the ground. You are amazing. Yeah? I try to be. You didn't know whether to take the compliments well, as you had just broken the law. Not really. I don't know if that's breaking the law. You had the chance to turn me in, but you covered for me. I'm gonna be indifferent. Yeah, I was there. I don't care if you treat me coldly. I adore you anyway. I wasn't... Wait, what? Jeff placed you on the ground and distanced himself from you, but his hands remained on you. I didn't take you for a pushover. I'll lick your feet if you want. Yeah. Yes. Please. Gross! I get the idea. That's not exactly necessary. Jeff chuckled, raising his hands to your neck. He tilted his head, looking intently at the marks his fingers had left on your neck, which had faded over the days. You refrained from saying anything, feeling the air change to something more intimate. Your eyes met Jeff's for an instant. His normally small pupils were slightly dilated. He leaned in and lowered his head to your neck. All you saw was his black hair over your forehead. Listen, you felt the first kiss on your neck. That sent a shiver down your spine, and the second made it worse. Jeff took his time, slowly and calmly, kissing your neck from one end to the other, caressing the skin of your throat with his lips softly. You clenched your lips to make no sound. Perhaps the whole situation was playing tricks in your mind, because a dilapidated house didn't seem like the worst place for this to happen. Oh no! Oh no! You felt him slowly pull away and lean over your face. His long, messy hair obstructed your view, but due to the closeness, you could see his bright eyes and the cut of his mouth near you. Oh my God! You saw his eyes fixed on your lips, so you weren't surprised when he finally kissed you. The touch was soft, but you could feel his lips were dry and cold. Even so, it wasn't that bad. His hands moved up to your jaw, holding you firmly, as if he wanted to prevent you from escaping. You felt the possessiveness in his touch, but it wasn't aggressive. Rather, he seemed careful. Gathering courage, you raised your hands and wrapped them around his shoulders. Jeff groaned softly against your lips as he felt your fingers entangle in his hair, breaking away for an instant, only to kiss you again, desperately. He lowered his hands to your waist and held you firmly. Yay! Yes! You stuck out your tongue and lightly licked Jeff's lower lip. He sighed and opened his lips, giving you access. You deepened the kiss and felt Jeff melt against you. His fingers on your waist and his lips against yours trembled. You caressed his tongue with yours. The touch was soft and warm, wet. You felt your breath intertwine with his. He pulled you closer, the brush of his hands feeling warm on your body, until you felt him move his hand up your chest. Normally you wouldn't care. You two were kissing. It wasn't strange that he was getting excited. But when you felt a poke in your thigh, you decided to stop. Oh no! A dilapidated house wasn't the best place for That. Well, who are you to judge? Even if you were in a horny mood, you had standards? No, I don't. So what the fuck? You slowly pulled away, your mouth and his joined by a string of saliva. His eyes were blurry, and his breathing was ragged. Okay, that's enough for today. Jeff let out a whimpering groan, not wanting to let go. What? Why? I am not going any further of you in this place. There might be cockroaches, rats, or tetanus. Okay. Jeff released you from his hug, but remained close. I wanted to show you how grateful I am. You can thank me in other ways. Jeff's face lit up. Can I lick your... Yes! Also, get me some clothes! Oh, right. You shook your head, disapproving of his antics. Jeff went to the corner of the room and picked something up. Also, like... I know that this game has been out for a while, but this has been like the third game in 2 weeks where I had someone want my feet for some reason. Why? Here, while I get you some clothes. He offered you his white hoodie. Too white. How do you keep it so clean if you're killing people? Shouldn't it be stained with blood? If it turns out he also has the superhuman ability not to get stained, this story will be classified as fantasy. I have several of these. I'm not stupid. I know I can't walk around with the same bloody hoodie everywhere. But why white ones? Wouldn't red or black be better? I've got a brand. A brand? Yeah, how else would people know it's me if I wear different clothes? Let's drop the subject. This is going to give me an embolism. You're adorable. You put the hoodie over your pajama clothes, and fortunately, it didn't fit you snugly. Jeff looked thin, but his shoulders and chest were wider than they appeared. Like what you see? Yes! You were staring at him for a moment and down to his bulge. Yes. Sure. A guy with a burned face and a cut mouth is hot. Even if you say it to make fun of me, it doesn't affect me. What if I actually said that he's not my type? No, he's definitely my type. I like how I look. A man with confidence. Now that's hot. Jeff remained silent, but you managed to see his cheeks blush. He pulled out an identical hoodie to the one you were wearing and covered his face with a bandana and hood. You're going to a store? Better. A mall? You were kidding. You knew you couldn't go out like that. A guy who collects trash has a lot of clothes. He'll give anything for a bit of brandy. Oh, gross. Relax, we'll wash it. I don't know, 5 times, so you're at peace? What a precarious lifestyle. What did you expect from a criminal? Day 7. Well, this should be the last day. As he promised, Jeff washed all the clothes he got from an alcoholic on the street several times. So now you had a t-shirt, your own hoodie, sweatpants, and sneakers, which, despite your size, were mismatched. Who would have thought you'd get a downgrade in a horror romance plot? But at least spending time with Jeff has become enjoyable. You both spent time talking, reflecting on things, learning from each other. You even fell asleep while talking. This is kind of a goofy CG, I'm not gonna lie. So it wasn't strange that he was the first thing you saw when you woke up. How long have you been looking at me? Since I woke up? You looked at him expectantly. 5 hours. Okay, this was getting out of control. You didn't expect to attract the attention of a killer who will become your stalker overnight. In fact, it overwhelmed you. Did it really take you a week to love me? Is that so hard to believe? I don't know much about romance, but You're the first person to make me feel like this. I want to be by your side. Always. I hate anyone who comes near you. I can't stand the idea of anyone else hurting you. You still want to hurt me, Jeff? Jeff's smile tensed at your words, and the air grew heavy. That was a question that needed to be answered. The thought of being with Jeff and him wanting to hurt you, it left a bad taste in your mouth. Now that we're good, I have no reason to. Does that mean that if things were bad, he would hurt you? Jeff raised a hand to your cheek and caressed it with his fingertips, his eyes scanning every corner of your face. And what about what you did to my eye? Jeff chuckled, and you felt frustrated that he wasn't taking you seriously. What would an apology be good for when the damage is already done? That had some logic, but it didn't mean you didn't feel resentment. He slid his fingers under the elastic straps of the patch, gently pulling until he unhooked it from your head. You had removed the adhesive patch and gauze, so when he removed your patch, he exposed your empty eye socket. Besides, I think you look better this way. You didn't know whether to feel complimented or manipulated. Either way, his touch was soft and delicate, his fingertips caressing the area around your left eyelid. It's one of my best works. His words sent a shiver down your spine. You felt your mind was confused. You didn't know what was right or wrong at this point. I'ma tell Jeff. Am I losing my mind, Jeff? Jeff smiled affectionately, caressing your lower lip with his thumb. What's better than going crazy together? You remained silent, under Jeff's fixed gaze. You were getting used to him observing you and not blinking. In fact, you wondered if he even had eyelids. He don't. I'ma be direct. What's with your eyes? Subtle? By chance, are you an insomniac? Jeff seemed content with your question. Did you notice? I've had insomnia for years. That's why these dark circles formed. Oh. So you have eyelids? Jeff snorted sarcastically. Why does everyone think I don't have eyelids? Well, for my part, it's because I've never seen you blink. What the fuck? Happy? Yeah, definitely no doubts now. Of course, seeing him blink made him seem more normal. Look at you, so obedient. I thought you liked giving orders more than receiving them. I have no preference. I know what I want and I'll do anything to get it. But I'm willing to receive whatever you give me. Flirt. Are we talking about something else? Jeff's cheeks flushed and his gaze dropped. Take it however you want. You chuckled at his answer, and at least Jeff seemed satisfied with your reaction. And that's when I clap him! That's when I take him from the back and take him straight to Pound Town! You raised your hand and gently ran it over his left arm, caressing the marks and scars through the fabric. What happened to you? Jeff sighed, unconcerned. A mix of occasions. Some are burns from fire and acid. Others are cuts from fights. Fights? Jeff, I didn't take you for that kind of guy. What did you expect me to do? Let myself be stabbed? No thanks. And who would you fight with? Many enemies. So you've left even more people alive? I only left you and the girl I mentioned before. The others either escaped or are simply seeking revenge. Wow, you're quite the bad boy. Jeff chuckled softly, his voice vibrant. Good thing he took it with humor. Since technically, he was everything wrong with the world. Hey. Yeah? Do you like me? Jeff, I don't go around kissing just anyone. He sighed, relieved. Jeff made circles with his fingers on the sheets while pouting. would you still like me? If I were a worm? Why does everyone keep asking me that? My answer is always no! Wow, it seems he's the high maintenance type. Yes? Of course. I adore worms. I don't appreciate my sarcasm, I know. You never do, and you still love me. Jeff straightened up from the bed and stretched his back. He let out a satisfied groan and stood up. I'm going to shower. Wait, you shower? One of the good things about that house was that it had water, albeit somewhat illegally. Jeff mentioned something about bypassing the meter. The fact that you had water was enough for you. Join him. I'm coming with you. He also stood up, but hands on your shoulders stopped you. If you come with me, it'll be hell for you. But I thought, hell. Okay, jeez. He let go of you and you noticed his hands trembling slightly and his breathing was agitated. That kind of hell. You stay where you are, in the room. Jeff gave you one last look before leaving. You looked around, trying to find a way to stop him. You didn't have your phone with you and the house had no Wi-Fi. Fortunately, it had electricity. So you decided to explore the place. What? I can explore. What is this? There was a door you didn't know where it led. Considering this was a practically abandoned house, something told you it wouldn't be nice to go in. But curiosity was stronger. You opened the door and the creaking echoed through the walls. It was dark, but luckily there was a switch nearby, so you pressed it and the place lit up. In front of you, some stairs extended downwards. Of course, the creepy basement wasn't missing. You were lucky that Jeff wasn't one of those who chained people in the soundproof basement. For now, you went down quietly, leaning on the railings as you descended the worn steps. Silence filled the place, your footsteps echoing on the cement. The light also came on downstairs, so you could see the place clearly. It was spacious and cold. The walls were stone, and there was some exposed pipes, which explained the damp smell. But there was another smell in the air. You didn't recognize it at first, but you went to the corner where there was a dilapidated piece of furniture. You leaned in to get a better look. Huh! Cool! You recoiled in horror, witnessing a corpse. With courage, you looked at it from a safe distance because the scene was too horrible to view up close. You recognized from the short hair and the size that it was a man, but his face was totally unrecognizable. It was swollen and with greenish skin. You noticed the white powder on it, and it wasn't hard to understand that it was lime. If it weren't for the lime, you would have noticed the smell from the beginning. You felt bile rise in your throat, but you covered your mouth instinctively to prevent it. You walked away from the scene to get some air. What the fuck? Jeff, did he do that? It would be ideal if he had nothing to do with it, but realistically, it was most likely Jeff. Was that the original owner of the house? Jeff had admitted to getting money from his murders, so it wouldn't be strange for him to do the same with accommodation. He chose that dangerous neighborhood on purpose because if the police showed up, they'd be more occupied with other suspicious activities typical of the area. It was a clear hideout in plain sight. But what about Jeff killing the homeowner and putting him in the basement? It was horrible, no matter how you looked at it. Jeff killed many people, among them innocent people. You never saw a hint of remorse from him, and you became his accomplice. You knew you weren't responsible for Jeff's actions, but if you didn't question them, weren't you just as horrible as him? You should feel absolute rejection towards someone like that. You should be incapable of chatting pleasantly with someone like that. But why can't you hate him? I love him. It couldn't be. You really felt so low to fall in love with a ruthless killer. You had truly lost your mind. Anyway, you couldn't stay in the basement. Jeff would surely wonder where you were if he didn't see you, and he might get upset about your discovery. So you went up the stairs quickly but carefully, given the deterioration of the steps. You reached the hallway just as Jeff came out of the bathroom. His hair was still wet, so he was drying it with a towel. There you were. I was looking for you. Yeah. He rubbed one end of the towel against his head and shook his long hair. Are you bored of me yet? His smile was amused, accentuating his sarcasm. Never. I will never get bored of you, Jeff. You're not saying that because of his good qualities, which are very few or non-existent. But at least Jeff seemed happy with your answer. He kept rubbing his wet hair, which didn't seem close to being dry. Is it too optimistic to think that there might be a hairdryer here? Jeff looked at you with sarcasm. In this dump? Obviously not. Then leave it to me. You held out your hands to him, pointing at the towel. He looked at you in silence for a few seconds, questioning. But then he seemed to understand, and his expression brightened. Of course! Jeff handed you the towel and hurried to sit in the living room, looking at you expectantly. You approached and stood behind him. He turned to give you his back. His hair flowed before you, shiny and straight. You began to rub the ends gently, sometimes squeezing the towel to remove excess water. Your hair is very straight. It was a little wavy before, but after the accident, it stayed like this. Right. You weren't clear on exactly what happened, but you have a general idea. It was also brown. Do you have photos? Jeff snorted, amused. From that time? Nah, not at all. Maybe on my old Tumblr accounts. You are so emo. I don't... He chuckled at Jeff's protest. He raised his head and looked at you from his spot. His gaze, usually distant, looked at you with a tenderness, a humanity you saw for the first time in him. You continued rubbing his hair, this time on the top of his head. Anyway, I look better now. Really? Yeah, back then I was very plain. They compared me a lot to my brother. They said we looked a lot alike. That makes sense if you're brothers. Were you too close? Yeah, we were. Actually, I don't even know if he's alive. I thought your family was dead. My parents are. I'm sure of that. But Liu, not so much. How do you know? It's complicated. I understand. Is this another one of your adventures? You could say that. There's so much about you that I'm having trouble keeping track. Jeff chuckled. You don't need to know every detail about me. Better focus on enjoying me. He straightened up and turned to face you. Which part of me do you like the most? The bald spot? Honestly, a smile. You really like it. It makes me happy. You're very vain, aren't you? Jeff shrugged. Don't! You wrapped the towel around his head and gently pulled, making him lean slightly towards you. You looked at him in silence and saw that it caused a reaction in him. Does it cause a reaction lower? His cheeks flushed and he briefly looked away, shyly. Wow, he really fell for you. You can almost trust him. As for the body in the basement? About the former owner? Body. I'm gonna ask for the body. Did you go to the basement? You couldn't tell if he sounded angry or not, but his tone had hardened, which brought back bad memories of your previous encounters with him. So you killed him. Is that really news to you? It's not, it's just that it surprised me, that's all. Jeff looked at you in silence, thoughtful. His expression, usually smiling and maniacal, was strangely calm. In fact, he was a little scarier when he was serious. Jeff, Have you really thought about the situation? What are you talking about? I'm talking about this. You pointed to the whole place, the broken walls, the floor covered in rubble and dust, the broken furniture. You two. Also, what happened yesterday with the police? If I stay with you, are we going to live like this? Jeff's eyes become bloodshot and his mouth twisted into a grimace. Before you even realized it, he trapped your cheeks between his fingers and squeezed, pulling you towards him abruptly. It hurts. There are no conditions for this. No if. You're going to be with me. Period. Jeff dug his nails into your skin, making you hiss. He really was still the same. Should I rip out your other eye so you understand? Negotiate. I didn't mean anything by what I said. I just wanted to visualize our life together. Jeff released you and kept his distance. You felt yourself breathe again and your heart calmed. We're going to have to move consistently to avoid the police. I guess I could improve the places we stay. He brought a finger to his chin, thoughtfully. Maybe alternate between houses and hotels. But I can't promise you luxury. I understand completely. Jeff smiled, satisfied with your answer, standing up from the sofa. What do you say about breakfast? Sure, but what? I got some eggs. Cooked some already. Oh, thanks. Are you going to eat with me? Jeff chuckled, putting his arm around your shoulders and leading you to the kitchen. You've completely messed up my schedule, so yeah, I'll join you. You arrived in the kitchen, and he went to the mini fridge. He bent down. Consequently, his shirt lifted slightly, revealing the skin of his lower back. Unlike the rest of his pale skin, it was free of scars, or so you could see. You raised your hand and pulled at the hem of his shirt, trying to put it back in place. Jeff's body tensed and he slowly straightened up. What? Jeff was empty-handed and looked at you expectantly. Are you hungry for something else? You were alarmed in your spot. I was fixing your clothes, but yes. Jeff looked at you in silence, then looked away. Is that your idea, or is he disappointed? Flirt. Wow, I did not expect that. Do you want me to touch you that much? Jeff shifted uncomfortably in his spot, shyly. You shook your head slightly, approaching him. Jeff leaned on the edge of the counter, watching you intently, waiting for something. You placed both hands on either side of his body, looking at him from your spot with a sly smile. Are you being shy? No, I just want to receive what you give me. Yes? Your smile softened as you approached him. The distance between you was too small to maintain. He looked at you for a few seconds, then leaned towards you. You received the kiss calmly, having expected it. Jeff's lips felt a little softer against yours, but they were still cold. His hand rose and gently held your jaw, his fingertips grazing the skin of your cheek. You felt your breathing quicken slightly, and he gently bit your lower lip, deepening the kiss. Caress him! Where did I caress? You slowly slid your hand under Jeff's shirt, feeling his warm skin under your fingertips. You caressed softly, feeling faint ridges. Hey. He pulled away a few inches from you, looking at you with need. I'm just testing the waters. Accompanied by your words, you slid your hand towards his back, gently squeezing his skin, caressing the hollow of his lower back. You like simple touches. I can't imagine what you'd be like doing other things. His voice, generally raspy, softened at your touch. Considering that was enough for him, you took your hands away and stepped back a couple of paces. You looked at his condition and were surprised to see he was slightly agitated. Do you have experience with this, Jeff? Not much. I see. What about you? I've got experience. Of course I do. Jeff sighed, straightening up. He approached you and gently kissed your forehead. Let's have breakfast already. You sat at the table, waiting for him to return. In reality, you found yourself slowly getting used to Jeff's company. When he was in a good mood, he treated you well, but when he got angry, he really brought out the worst. That was a reason to worry. Jeff approached and placed a plate with your breakfast in front of you. The table was still a bit dirty, but the plates and utensils were clean. You watched him eat in silence. You could see a bit of food poking out from the wound in his mouth. You've got some food there. He caught his attention and pointed to your own mouth to signal it to him. Jeff brought a hand to his face and noticed the small mess he had. Oh. This happens. Yeah, this wasn't working out perfectly for you. Not only was Jeff untrustworthy, he was violent, volatile, and unpredictable. If in just 7 days he fell in love with you, how did you know if in another 7 days he would hate you? Jeff, I have something to ask you. What is it? Does it still matter to you if I fear you or not? Before, he seemed very fixated on you fearing him, but now, you didn't know what he really wanted. Do you fear me? No. He laughed thunderously, startling you. You didn't know whether to worry about that reaction or not. No matter what your answer was, it doesn't change what I feel for you. It wouldn't change our situation either. What would worry me is if you would get bored of me. Would you tell me if you start getting bored of me? Yeah. Sure. You knew from experience that he preferred honesty. Jeff smiled, satisfied. You both dropped the subject and finished your breakfast. The rest of the day was quiet. You even saw Jeff sleeping, something he had never seen before. Reality seemed to be settling in, and evening arrived. Jeff had mentioned that he had some cash and could buy dinner to go for a takeout a few blocks away. But suddenly, police sirens were heard. They grew louder and seemed to be from several cars. Jeff? He stood up and went to the living room, peering slightly out the window. The lights peeked through the windows, and although you expected them to pass by, they stayed. The sirens went silent, and you could see by the number of lights that there were at least 3 patrol cars. You heard the clicks on megaphones, and someone's voice echoed. We have you surrounded! Surrender the hostage! Shit! The alcoholic son of a bitch doesn't know when to shut up! Of course, it was pretty obvious that a guy who collects trash and would do anything for brandy wasn't exactly trustworthy. Jeff hurried to a corner of the room and put on his white hoodie. Wait, what are you going to do? Turn myself in? No way. Come. In front of cops? He took your hand firmly and pulled you. But we're surrounded. We couldn't get out. Not from the front or the back, but underneath. You understood what he was saying when he headed for the basement. You heard the entrance door being slammed. Lion! Oh wait, no, that was the detective. You recognized that voice, but when you reached the basement, Jeff let go of you and went to one of the ends of the room. Where are we going now? Jeff struggled with something on the floor, and you saw him lift a piece of concrete that led to a place below. Well, that's convenient. Through the sewers. Lion! Okay. You obeyed and climbed down the opening. You fell into the sewers, the water splashing under your feet from your movement. Jeff jumped down after you and pulled your arm. Come on, they're close behind us. You both ran, hearing several people following you. How did they get down here? In the rush, you managed to glimpse the end of the tunnel. Where do we go next? Jeff? Shut up! I'm thinking! His grip on your arm tightened, hurting you. You both emerged into a stream in the middle of the forest, and Jeff quickened his pace. Aren't we going to get lost? Jeff remained silent, breathing heavily. He seemed truly a wanted criminal. You had gotten into a lot of trouble. You both ventured into the forest, but after encountering lights from flashlights, you took a detour. The same happened on the other path. You were cornered. You had no choice but to go straight. But ahead, that was only... You both reached the edge of the cliff, and Jeff finally let you go. In the distance, at the forest entrance, the lights gathered and advanced towards you at high speed. Jeff. Shit! More people approached. The crowd was a shadow, but you could tell there were many. You had no way out. Now I'm scared. Jeff? I'm scared. Jeff held your cheeks between his hands and looked at you, not knowing what to do. Feeling the others approaching, his shoulders slumped in resignation, and he smiled sadly at you. I made you fear for your life. The words were in your mouth. You heard the sound of a gunshot, too close to alarm you. No! Jeff's chest turned red, and a force pushed him towards the cliff. You tried to reach for his hand, and surely you would have fallen too if you had reached it, but a grip on your waist prevented you. Lion, it's over! You tried to break free, feeling tears run down your cheeks. Jeff! You called his name, because just moments ago, he was by your side. Sean forced you to your knees, and you completely broke down. She wrapped you in her arms, but didn't feel quite right. Shh. It's over. Her voice was soothing, but it didn't completely comfort you. So that's what happened. From my perspective, Lion, you achieved what many could not. You survived. So why do I feel like something's wrong? You built a socio-affective relationship with Jeff. You became both the monster and your savior at the same time. It's hard to detach from someone who meant so much to you. With time, you'll be able to fill the void he left. It's part of the healing process. You remained silent, trying to find a place in your mind that accepted what the therapist was saying. Our time is up. Is someone coming for you? Cindy won't take long. Oh good, she's alive! Turns out she was taken to the hospital in time. She was the first person you saw when you recovered. I see you two are still in contact. Yeah, we got closer. Thanks to her company, you achieved many things, including going back to work. I'm glad for you. You nodded out of simple courtesy. You left the session and breathed deeply, feeling a great weight lift from your shoulders. All good? You felt her touch on your shoulder and nodded with a small smile. Far from hiding the scar the incident caused her, she wore it with pride. You walked down the street, under the sunlight and in comfortable silence. You didn't know what lay ahead for you. You would never forget what happened that week. You would never forget Jeff, what he made you feel and question. But you knew for sure that it was all over. Your life had returned to normal. Normal ending. He will live in your memory. Wait, is there a true ending? Okay, I have to see what happens if we decide to stay with him instead. This is probably the only ending which I'm going to explore beyond like what we got. Jeff. Gently, you reached for his hand and entwined your fingers with his. Jeff looked at you desperately, but upon meeting your eyes, he calmed down. Lion, I love you. You smiled affectionately at him. The sound of people's footsteps approached, accompanied by desperate voices shouting for them to stop. You faced the cliff, feeling the sea breeze hit you, as if warning you of what awaited. You squeezed his hand decisively. You both took a step forward, and the ground disappeared beneath your feet. The last thing you felt was the wind hitting your face, and his hand's grip that never let go. What? Together forever? So how do I survive? Okay, we're gonna just speed through this to try and get the true ending. So, what's in aisle 1? On the shelves full of action movies, your badge was nowhere to be found. Counter, check behind the counter, nothing on the floor. Okay, aisle 2, my name, Lion. Okay, I mock him because clearly he likes it when I mock him, so I'm gonna do that. Wait, did he say something strange? That's me another, okay, sure, I'll take the affection point. He asked for my name. Huh? Why? Yeah, he picked up my badge. I guess to verify it was mine. Cindy held her chin thoughtfully. It was a little weird, I guess. Okay, she looks at me in silence. Whatever. Look away? No, I meet his gaze. I choose horror? Okay, hold on. What's gonna net me more affection points? Okay, Scream's gonna add 1. Paranormal activity, nothing. Pulse adds 1. The thing... Okay, we're just gonna add the Scream. Okay, go with it or ignore him. Go with it. I'm gonna be direct. High five him. What's up with the bandana? Wait, are you single? Or what do you do for work? Yeah, go with, are you single? Flirt with him. Answer sarcastically. Okay. I tease him. Why? Are you afraid? Yes. Okay. He's gonna kill him. No. Voice? No. He's insane. I don't think this matters. I'm gonna chase him instead. I will give up. I tease him. Okay, that goes my eye hole. Okay, heaven, no. Hospital, whatever it was called. I'm gonna say my name. Fuck you, Dr. Salazar. I'm not okay. I'm gonna be fine. I'll be fine. I don't have family. I don't talk to my family. My family lives far away. Question her. I feel like most of this is gonna be more or less the same. Okay. My choice in food doesn't matter. I'm gonna be cold. I mock him. I distrust. I complain. Show him what happened. Tell him what happened to me. Keep it to myself. What? Do I trust? No, I don't trust Dr. Salazar. Get the fuck away from me. Ask about the case. Doesn't matter. Posters? No. Lights? No. Furniture? No. Okay, posters. All right. Well, am I truly afraid? Yes? No. I'm not scared. I'm not scared at all. Okay, so we remember that we're supposed to hide in the bed first. Okay, and then the bathroom. Okay, and then the living room. Okay, and then the closet. Oh, wait, hold up. This is... Yeah, okay, we survived. Vegan? No. Normal option. Get the hell away from me! Wait, hang on. No, get out of here. Oh, yeah, good to see you, Cindy. Beer or wine? I'll take the beer. Tease or defy? Yeah, tease. Okay. Show sympathy. Nope. Mock him. Ask about his day. Flirt or suspect? No, flirt. Inquire? Okay. Understand? No. Okay, we'll go for inquire. Yeah. Free yourself. No. Moan. I'm gonna moan at him. I'm gonna... Toast. Are you jealous? What do you do with your money? What happened to your mouth? Where do you get your money? No. Are you jealous? I mock him? Okay. Like a date? Yeah, you can totally go for dates. I'm gonna kiss. Wait, do I take his hand? No, I kiss. Kiss is the best option. Not gonna open. Nah, no. It's better not to risk it. Lion? You jumped in the muffled voice of Dr. Salazar from the other side. Well, as the saying goes, chills and thrills. Oh, come on! Get the fuck out of here! I didn't want to involve either of you! Ugh, Salazar. Wait, no, Cindy. Cindy makes more sense. I'm not gonna flirt. I'm just gonna chat. Don't ask. Okay, you know what? I'll ask. I'll be indifferent. And yep, she stabbed. He wants to leave you alone. Okay, he likes me, clearly. Clearly. Be positive? No, suspect. Okay, suspect. He's insane. Ask or suggest have dinner. Yeah, suggest have dinner. Have you ever been in love? What if I said no? Okay, I'm gonna say yes. Doesn't matter. You haven't considered it. Men, women, both. I like both. Do you have family? Did you kill them? Apparently I was supposed to ask if he killed his family. Jeff let out a dispirited chuckle. You know me better than I thought. You got any friends? Is that weird? How old are you? I mean, 30s, 20s. Yeah, I'm gonna mock him. No, flatter him. You're in good shape. Even if you're not that young, you look good. Ignoring how messed up his face was, of course. Jeff said nothing, but you notice his cheeks flush. Are you happy with everything you asked? Yeah, sure. It's fucked up, or is it weird? You know, it's fucked up. Okay, I lie. I be, wait, indifferent or agreeable? Yeah, I'll be indifferent. Of course I'm gonna let him. Wait, move away. Let him. I'm gonna be suggestive. Yeah, I like him. I do like him. I'm gonna tell Jeff. Wait, hang on. Yeah, I'm gonna tell Jeff that I'm losing my goddamn mind. I'm gonna be subtle. I'm gonna flirt, because he likes it when I flirt. High maintenance type. Wait, what? Yes, I would still like you if I was a worm. Water was enough for you. Wait, hold on. Wait, do I join him? Yeah, you did not know. Okay, I'm gonna go down to the basement. I love him. Okay. Ooh, are you bored? Never. I'm never gonna be bored of you. I love your... Wait, bald spot, body, smile, eyes, smile. I love your smile. Ask for the body in the basement. I'm going to negotiate. And finally, I'm going to flirt. This should give me just enough, like, affection points to actually get the ending I want. I do have experience. Wait, hold up. Do I fear him? No. Wait. Yeah, of course I'm gonna tell you. Okay. Freaking finally! Yeah, triple dots! Jeff, come here. Jeff looked at you with doubt, but obeyed. You held his head between your hands and pulled him towards you. You grazed your lips against his ear and whispered something softly. He startled, and when he straightened up, he looked at you bewildered. You smiled at him. Stay still! You heard the police arrive for you, so you acted quickly. You put your hands on Jeff's chest and pushed him with all your might. Jeff offered no resistance, and as he fell into the void, you could see his wide eyes staring at you. You looked down from the edge of the cliff and felt someone stand beside you. Out the corner of your eye, you knew it was Sean. It's over. So that's what happened. The therapist looked at the floor thoughtfully. Well, definitely. The credit is yours. You managed to overcome the evil that was stalking you. You don't have to feel guilty. It was self-defense. It was you or him. Sure. How do you feel about it? Different. Definitely feel different. I killed someone. Are you still living on your own? Yeah, but I moved to another apartment. So you don't live with anyone? No, it's a small place. Okay. From what I see, you don't feel that attached to him. I guess it's because you have a strong mind. Thanks. But I'd like you to keep coming back, to see how you feel in your normal life. You shrug, standing up when you see that your hour is over. Okay, next month? Let's make it next week. Okay. You leave the office, and seeing yourself on the busy street during the day, you feel your shoulders relax. Your life had returned almost to normal, except that you moved and changed jobs. Many would say that what you went through was hell, but for you, it was something special. You missed Jeff, and you weren't stupid enough to admit it to the therapist. You loved him after all. His booming laugh, his long disheveled hair, his white hands holding your face. You missed everything. So you held on to the promise you made that day. I'll be waiting for you. You didn't explain much, and yet Jeff seemed to understand, because he always manages to escape. So you took advantage of the convenience he enjoyed, knowing that he would survive. Wait, did I actually kill Jeff? Weeks has passed since what happened, but he still hasn't appeared. He was taking his time, that's for sure. But he'll come back. You knew it. Hand! Hand! True ending. He's coming for you. I have questions! You mean he's coming over, right? That's what you mean, right? It's not like we were thinking of anything else, right? Anyway, yeah, that was Fear Me. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys do want to play this for yourselves, link to the game will be in the description below. And I gotta say, kind of glad I finally managed to do a playthrough of this, and we actually managed to sit through the full, like, 3.5 hours of this. Like, genuinely, like, I think this was an okay visual novel. There could definitely be some improvements, and, like, yeah, we all know who the star of the show is, and that's definitely Jeff the Killer. Like, Dr. Salazar is, we don't even talk about Dr. Salazar. I wanted him out of there. Do let me know what you guys thought of this game, and yeah, in the meantime, thank you all so much for watching. Hope you all have a lovely rest of the day. And as always, I'll be seeing you in the next video. This is Lion, signing off. Ciao.